Hello gang, welcome back. Great to see you all there. Streamlabs tell me I've got not viewers, but that can't be true because I see lots of familiar, friendly names in the chat there. Got the wee monkey hanging on to the level we'd like to finish the day around. That'll be coming up in 20 minutes. Right, so, how's everybody? Bing bong. Great to see you all there. Today we're going to take a look at the charts. I'm going to go over how you add this indicator and get it to look like this, which is actually very straightforward because a couple of people have asked me about the HBV and where you get it. A surprising amount of people considering, really. We're going to take a look at that volume, breaking through the moving average. Obviously it's less than some of the volume we've seen on the charts at the minute, but it's broken the moving average on our volume profile, which is interesting. It's clearly going to close above it because that's the way that volume works. You'll notice that I've changed my volume candles to do all white instead of, I think out of the box they're green and red for increasing and decreasing, but really it's completely irrelevant and it'll do nothing but confuse you. So you're best having these all the same neutral colour. We're also going to take a look at the DMI and confirm our HPV hypotheses with this indicator, which Rocky has adapted to make it easier to use and slightly more efficient and effective. Hello chat, it's great to see everybody moving there. Thanks very much, and I see Rocky's in the chat too. Obviously I was speaking to everybody, he was saying things, thank you very much. All those people shouting me out, thanks very much. How lovely it is to see us all again. I wasn't quite expecting everybody to turn up, you know, it was only, what was it, 12 or 13 hours ago we said goodbye. And here we are again. Hello. So, let's get into it unless anybody has anything in particular they'd like me to cover. And, well, I'm not going to add it at the front of the queue anyway, but make sure you say it if you'd like me to talk about any particular point, and I'll try and get round to it. Did you get some hair of that dog yet? Ha! No, I didn't get anything like that. I did have some food and a nice cup of coffee I've just finished. But no hair of the dog. Water, water, water. Yeah, I could do with some water. I might have to get some during this stream, depending on how things go. Yes, so hit the like and subscribe button and all that jazz. Thank you very much, folks. If anyone wants to share it, I'm sure you've got ideas about where you could do that, and every single action is appreciated, no matter how many followers. It's like that parable, isn't it, about the lady with no money giving money meant more than the rich people or some shit? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter about the extent of your follower base. Every little helps in all sorts of ways, including bringing guys over to view things, or girls, and also apparently there's some SEO benefits from having links, so all of these things help apparently, you know. But I'm not an expert by any means, and I could be talking out my complete bum, and it's not really about that. You're all here, those who've made it, you're the special ones. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's get started. So we're thinking that the day's going to finish in 15 minutes, and we're thinking that because that's what happens. The area we would like to see prices finish above, just because it's nice to see us breaking through, or at least having a positive reaction when we reach resistance, is around the 1.7. What would we call that? We could move it up so that it's in line with this wick, which is also in around the top of these candles. Let's put it right on that close there, where traders brought us to a close previously. 184, that's a bit ambitious, Jamie. We know the previous structure is actually in and around here from this candle in the breakdown of this move, which is higher low. Is this a higher low? No, it's a lower low. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Has this just been the... We won't have our RSI on, but we have already identified that if we turned around from here, it would present us with some bullish divergences, hidden bullish divergence in this context of this uptrend being higher highs. And until that period, you would have to, like, if you're comparing it to here, you would say that's until then it was higher lows. So if this is lower, yeah, our RSI isn't, then that would be bullishly divergence, which we identified at the time. Things have turned around, looks fantastic. We're at the top of the Bollinger Band, where we're close to tracing the top Bollinger Band. We've already identified how important that is for a move. As you can see from those quick cursor swipes. So this is the area we'd like to be up in and around, where I would expect us to be, somewhere around there, right? 177, easy peasy if you ask me, right guys? We could probably push it there ourselves. Rocket ships. Rocky! Everybody happy in chat? I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, so we'll do a bit of TA, shall we? I think that was what I was trying to do there before I got distracted. Right, so we'd like to see prices finish the day up around at 179. We can go down to the 15-minute chart, seeing as we're in the last 15 minutes now. Let's see if we see any patterns on our candlesticks. It's very positive. We've just slipped back inside the Bollinger Band and tested the top of it on the previous 15 minutes. 157, I don't think so, mate. This move, you can't be drawing too many conclusions from that. But this is very positive, you know. Finishing anywhere above just 166.90. Spot 90, that'd be very positive. Right, so let's look at the DMI and confirm this trend. Let's look at the strength of it. Look and see if there's any prevented with any divergences. Let's talk about this indicator and at what areas we need to see things to be positive and what's the patterns we're being presented with at the minute. Let's see any similarities to them in the past. The DMI, of course, measures the strength of trend. It does it in two ways, mainly one way, but it's a composite of various factors. You have the DI plus, which is represented this green line, and you have the DI minus, which is purple on this particular, on my charts. And then you've got the ADX, which goes various colors depending on its slope and where it is. As you can see. Now, there's a very good walkthrough on how you use this indicator on Rocky's channel, but I'll just briefly touch on the things we'd really like to see. Well, we'd like to see a cross from the DI plus and DI minus. We saw that here, but our ADX was down. It was pointing down. It wasn't a strong strength. The trend was very weak. We had a confirmation of that cross when they both came up, touched each other. At the same time, our ADX flipped up, came out of the bearish control zone, up past this 38, and when the ADX is above the 38 and your DI plus is positive and above the DI minus, then that's when you're looking at a really strong trending move, which is what we're seeing at the minute. So that's very positive. Only thing that we could see that would be better about this would be if the DI plus was pointing up, but we're on very small time frames and we'll see how things go. Generally speaking, that's quite a strong move. Came up, tested the bullish control zone, knocked down. You would expect that, especially because it's confluent with the high from slightly on during the day. This is a high on the DMI, not the high on the price. Okay. DMI, did it go higher? Whoops, a daisy. Let's take a wee zoom in. Oh, it didn't go higher, but prices did. So that would give us, obviously, that would give us, just stretch it out, it seems there, right, stretch it out so it looks easier to see, yeah. And we didn't make it higher, so there's a tiny touch of, let's call it class B divergence, right, which is enough to say that perhaps in and around this level is where we'll see the day close without any extreme exaggerated movements, either up or down, because we're in a strong trending move, which has been confirmed by all of the things we'd like to see on this indicator, and prices are at resistance, so it's normal that this would be an area where some people would perhaps take profit, or if you're a no, I don't. This is not a shorting move. If it was, we can look at that later. But all it really does is it presents a good buying opportunity. This sort of pattern, you know, a lot of people will tell you it's a cup and handle, but it's not really, because cup and handles don't work like this. This is just recovering, and that's, to even call that resistance so far, I suppose you would. 1, 2, 3 touches. We're above it. Confirm there. That's positive. That's a 15-minute chart though. Ideally, on the daily, it's up at this green line. You know, that's where our resistance is from the traders brought us to a close before. One of the things we can say about that on this indicator, the trade, ding, 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 that's crossing. That looks like on the daily time frame you can see that our same indicator is telling us that we're perhaps at the end of a downtrend. If you hear the phone/camera buzzing, that's just friendly apes trying to get in touch with me. And shortly, thanks to all of you guys, I'll be able to record on a different device, so the reliability and the picture quality will all be a lot better. Is that still working as it happens? Yeah, it is. Good news. And I see that people are chatting still. That's fantastic news. And 360 views here. Wow, fantastic. And we're all tuning in for the same thing, really. It's this 15-minute candle, so I could be on the daily, but we know that the line's there for that reason. And we've identified that we're slightly above the resistance. Sorry, well, we're at resistance, aren't we? Let's not pull hairs. We're at resistance. And what would be really, 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 really nice if we were feeling like bullish? Well, off the back of this move, it would be great if we got... Well, what am I doing there? Sorry. Pardon me. If we say that is our top for the day, and you had another entry at 152, the whole picture changes. So when we were talking previously and we were saying 120 is a good entry, it would have been, at the time, that would have been the best entry. Because we didn't have this price action yet. So, having had it, we can say that we've recovered. This is a good test of this area. We could expect to see prices testing up around 180 tomorrow if we can maintain this trend. And maintaining this trend, and the most bullish version of that would be we see a small retrace back to the 236 on this move, this fib. And if it doesn't go beyond there, then this wouldn't be a valid retracement, and we could say that the strength of this trend is fantastic. So if you're looking for volatility on just on market close, and we're hoping to see something bullish happening tomorrow, like prices opening up at resistance up here, you would hope not to see much of a retracement beyond the 236, and that would be an incredibly bullish short-term scenario. And if you could then combine all of that together, you would be looking to see test a little bit higher. We'll talk about that later, and how there could be a mini period of distribution in and around these areas. And again, then you would perhaps look for, or be wary of, be mindful of a pullbacks to around this area again, or up here should we break through that. But let's take it one step at a time and say, what would invalidate this move? Well, if we go beyond the 236, that's not really a big deal, just because I identified it as a like case A of the bullish thesis. There's also that still maintain that opinion, a conviction, as long as we were above the 0.5. Then I'd be just as bullish with regards to what sort of trades I'd be looking to take, which would be retests of previous areas as resistance and looking to take them for support. So a lot of people would say, like, wow, this is fantastic, I'm going to buy here. Perhaps, as I know somebody was, they had an options contract and they got right out there, right at the very top. Congratulations to you. And that person was talking about getting straight back into spot, like buying actual shares. Well, that's what we think, depending on what broker we're using. But yeah, buying the actual shares in and around these levels, which is like fine, right? Because like we all talk about a lot of the time, if it's going up to like, let's just talk on the reasonably short term. If it's going up to $200, there's not a huge difference between 160 and say 157. An entry in around there, 152. You're really splitting hairs, as we were talking about before. So what time is it? Is the day closed yet? No, 4 minutes, and we're seeing that, anticipating this. Look at that. What are we? Are we geniuses? No. This is also like the area here where that candle started this break of this area of distribution, which looked like it was in a rising thing. So yeah, that was positive. That was caught where it was. So this is a very bullish setup. Very positive, very bullish. Does it make me feel great about things? Yes, it certainly does. It makes me feel good, yeah. So that's another reason why you don't want to ignore your emotions when you're trading. You know, it's part of the satisfaction. In fact, it's most of it after you're met your daily expenses. So we're looking and thinking, you know, any close above that 236 on this candle is fantastic. Does that mean that we're likely to see a bounce after hours? Not necessarily. There's other areas you come in at. The center line of these Bollinger Band, the 15 minutes, that's a 20 period moving average. 618 golden pocket retrace. Also, that would present us with a higher low on this trend. That would be a bullish entry point, and then you might be able to get in at 144 again. These are all like quite optimistic targets, and I say optimistic despite them being a lot lower than the prices at the minute, because that just gives us more headroom. Much more likely the trade that if you were taking one in the short term, for example, if I've got orders in at 120 from the donations that came into the channel last week, and if I'm quite happy to leave them there, you know, and I got some at 137 or just above, and that was because this would happen, right? And I mean, lots of people did. I noticed your Dave Lauder, can't pronounce his name properly, the ex-Citadel guy, who's an absolute hero, entered in and around here. And when we've had, as you know, the chat about the HPV yesterday, it might be that we look back on Dave's trade and say, Dave, you know, not you're a natural. And I would love to be able to, if we were all able to congratulate each other on our journeys that way. Fantastic entry if it is. So those are options. Sorry, it's not an option trade. Spot orders that I have at 120. I would look to take them off and see price action, maybe get up to that 178 level, maybe enter if there's a retest here and we put in a positive candlestick pattern, of which there's about 50,000 million it could be, but a bullish engulfing candle after a retest of resistance, confirming it as support, is the sort of thing that people jump on quite well, quite have a good time. So markets closing 60 seconds, and they can't do any damage to us here. Look, you know. Shields at maximum. Right, this is the so the way I would talk to, say, somebody who wasn't particularly interested in technical analysis but wanted to know how the price went today, I'd say, well, maybe a little bit of rope-a-dope, but by the time we came to the daily close, we'd well and truly kicked the shit out of them. They didn't want this. Nobody going short wanted this. People that had puts definitely didn't want to see this. Might have been quite excited there. If you yesterday thought, wow, I'm going to buy that low volatility and I'm going to buy a put, or a covered put. If I'm going to take this trade short here, I mean, maybe, you know, some people have taken it there at that retest, because what? Well, if they weren't using the right... Anyway, well, I'm talking to myself. Yeah, so you'd say if you were just giving, like, say, Rocky was saying, oh, how did it go on GME today, Rocky? Jamie, I'd say, pretty good, positive, really, really positive overall. And then I talk about the volume. Here we go, daily close, that's it. Marked it in above resistance. We've broken this formation. Some people will call it a cup and handle. There is no handle. We don't need one. We've closed today. Congratulations, guys. I think that's another part. That's a good third of the bing in our bing bong. So great, congratulations, chat. We had a great close there. That's very positive, and it's been looking like that since. Well, it's been looking like that all since the 11th of May. Yeah. So let's think about that trend then. 11th of May, the day today being 13th. Right. So yeah, it's a busy time for options contracts the last few days. So yeah. Those people are cursing themselves. They might be looking at it and thinking, oh, you know, it's still a period of distribution until such times as we break up here. I'm going to keep my position open. Fair enough. Go for it, guys. Your stop loss should have been here. You should have been out of that trade if you're going short. Anyway, congratulations, everybody. Fantastic. It's chat updating. Oh, I've got donations and everything. And people have said my name, so I can just remember to turn on notifications. Cool, yes. definitely get them on. Those notifications there. There's only so much I managed to get around to doing before I go live or set the schedule of stream, so I can't like get everywhere that I see you all and let you know what's happening. So let me just check here where anyone said anything on the old super chats and what I should be reading out. Jesus, have I missed lots? When did these all happen? Oh no, that's me super fast scroll. Can this not just be a little bit bigger, Streamlabs? 19 hours ago, Scrambling Shade. That was all yesterday, but thank you very much. Dad Puns Are Bad Puns was one of the last thing he put in. $5. Go to bed, get some rest for tomorrow. Thanks very much if you're here, Dad. Holy shit! Holy shit. I just saw a huge donation come in. Does it get read out to you guys? I should have had text to speech on, but I don't know if it did. So, PH3D, yo! Thanks very much for the donation. SEK, what is that again? Where are you at? PH3K. No, that's not. That's the one below. Ah, this thing's so hard to read. Wait, turn the bus around. I can't find my butt cream. I can't go lol. He moonchap cheeks. Wait. Never mind. Found it. Let's go. $5 towards your new camera. Also, because your TA just peels my banana. Haha, excellent. Andy A and JL, thank you so much. Both of you. Daniel Lesage. $100. $100. How incredible. That is incredible, eh? I don't know. To me, it's incredible. Like, thank you so much. Let's get around to reading this message. I was freaking out on Monday. You guys calmed me down. Happy days. Congratulations. Glad to have done that. Happy that calmed you down. That's most of my objective here. Not got the classical music and whatnot, but I should have. And got my head straight. Congratulations, head straight. Fantastic. Sounds like you're all lined up to make the most of this week. At the end of the week, last night helped increase the confidence, and today my jaw is dropped in utter disbelief. Utter belief. Yeah, utter belief. Well, thanks. That's such a nice message. I'm really glad that helped. I'm really positive. That it wasn't advice, obviously. Confidence helped you make your decisions, get your head straight. And then here you are benefiting from them. Fantastic. Thanks very much for that donation. I have to read Daniel Lesage. Is that right? Lesage. Am I saying that right? I sound like I'm assuming things here, and that could make me look like an idiot. Lesag. I don't know. I'm not sure. Daniel. It's definitely Daniel. Cheers, mate. That's really good of you. Thank you so much. And then I got another one today. I see another one. 25 there, but it's not. Streamlabs ain't telling me about it, but I see it up here, but I didn't get it on screen. I'm so confused. Wait, that was about the turn the bus around. You can't find his butt cream. Exactly. If anyone's got any spare butt cream with them, if anyone's got a spare butt cream, just pass it over to Andy and he'll use it. And feel free to pass it down the bus. Everybody should have a little bit of it. Cool. Thank you so much for the donations. Right, I'll get back to doing TA in a moment. You got it, buddy. This channel has probably saved people thousands of dollars. Just this week, yeah, probably has. I got a message. I got a message from somebody. I'll not tell them about it. But yeah, it's made some people a number of times more than that, just on their own, which is great. Oh look, there's a massive syringe right across my head on my screen there. Is that because it's the channel logo over my head on that thing? But I'm sure you guys can see my face on that channel. Is that channel logo when you guys look? No, it's not. It's off to the right, isn't it, that thing? Holy shit, another donation. Still think 600 is a target. Yeah, it's 680 when we're up at that area. 680 is the target. If you're above 480, the target's 680. This channel is, but yeah, thanks so much. We'll get around to these messages. This is crazy. SEK 100, I don't know what currency that is. Thank you so much. Yeah, so 680 is the target when we're above 480. Expect a pullback from 480. Totally normal. It would be unusual not to see something there, right? That's our all-time high. A lot of people, bought GME there. It's been a while, right? They might have changed their mind. They might want to get out. That's fine. It's them that are losing out. Like, we can see ourselves. What happens when we get meat resistance with force. And you'll get the odd guy trying to be too smart, cashing out their position at 480, thinking they're going to get in again, at 40 again, like that time, before. Nah, not happening. Shortcut to my favourite GME, AMC Apes, Trade Spotting, Rocky Outcrop, Andy Lee, Lou versus Wall Street. I saw Lewis versus Wall Street. How cool is that guy, eh? He also needs a better camera. But who gives a shit when it's all about personality? And fucking hell, I mean, he's such a nice guy. Andy Lee with Lou v Wall Street are like, I mean, I don't want to use any stereotypes or that, whatever, but it does also, like, I mean, we must all be thinking the same thing, right? Like, it's all coming together, even the people in the gang, like, all of our personalities, when we get to see them from each other, we're all like, man, that guy's straight out of a fucking movie. It is, It's awesome. Wow, I got another donation. Again, this is crazy. It's dry on the moon. I've heard that. You gotta have butt cream. I'm telling you. Your chap cheeks are no laughing matter. I'm cereal. I read it on the internet. Haha, I'm so happy. Y'all rock, peace. I'm sure the cadence of that message was intended to be different from how I articulated it, but still I enjoyed it. That's a nice message. Thanks so much, Andy. Thanks so much, everybody. And thanks so much, everyone in the community who does so much for GME. Right, so 432 concurrent viewers. I really owe these guys that are tuning in something. So thanks, and if I've got up with most of the chat there, if anybody has anything. I've also got the chat on this screen. How many screens have I got here? I'm only looking for this one. Right, excellent. Yes, so we saw that. And we'll open this. We'll look at our post-market. Oh my goodness. So, absolutely no idea why anyone would try and short it after market close now. They're obviously just selling their position. Pardon me, taking profits. Maybe they're hoping for an entry at 152. You know, a lot of people would, a lot of traders would. It's also where we saved the drop from this period of accumulation / distribution, which dropped down there. A couple of reasons why you might test that. Say, for example, you thought of this as some sort of cup and handle, which would be a continuation pattern, so it doesn't quite fit in the overall schema of things, but then it probably does if you talk about the fact that we're in an uptrend, you know, which I have been saying, despite this lower high. And does it present, lower low, sorry, did it present us with divergence on the DMI? Yeah, it did. Just as we were talking about Class B divergence earlier, we also have Class B bullish divergence, so that's hidden. But it's in an uptrend, so what do you expect? We're looking at the bottom of the area here. We're talking about this as an uptrend. Yeah, so some people will be looking in around that 0.5 level. Some people looking in around the 618 golden pocket. You know, there's all various reasons why that also looks good, why this looks good. And then I don't think we're going to see these prices now, having seen this positive inflection from this lower high. But we'll see. It all depends about whether or not, lower low. It depends on whether or not we can make a higher high on this move. So although this is where the daily close was brought in at, and that's where we would like to see the daily close come in at on Friday, tomorrow, or on the day that we go up above there. Am I getting more donations? It seems like it. This is insane. Get my head around it all. Yeah, what I was thinking, yes, so why would people take trades in around here? Yeah, well, all of these areas are now looking like they're going to prevent our opportunities to take trades, so they all look like good areas of support, and the higher up we get, if we do retrace, the more bullish this is, and like the 236 would be the absolute most bullish version of a retracement from here. Because as you can see, if you take this fib down, we'll just draw it, say when this moved up to here, you know, and we had a retracement where to? Well, 618 around golden pocket went up, that was still bullish. Say that was our high, we had a retracement, only went down to 236, and that's because it was so bullish, you know. Up next move was very high, right up to resistance. 236 again, take us up here, you know. You could open up like that tomorrow, push, that'd be fwa. You might not see a lot of action for the rest of the day, because then we'd be at a significant point of resistance, but that'd be nice, you know. Anyway, what else happened today? Well, there was a liquidity check, wasn't there? I also haven't looked into the machinations, how these liquidity checks work in practice. How do they perform them? You know, is it like options expiry, like you've got a liquidity day, which would be the 13th, and then you'll have like a liquidity check time, expiry time, which would be, you know, midnight tonight or something like that. And how do they perform this audit? Is it done in house and they submit here, like here's our books, so say us, or is it done like the proper? I mean, I expect it's done much better than that. You know, there'll be people from outside agencies come in and go through the books and look through things. But I've been in situations like that before, and that can take weeks. It does take weeks, right? The people that do that job, it's a fucking shit job, right? Now, it's great for money and that, but it's super boring, and the people in the organisation all shun you. Well, they don't all, but a lot of them do. And it's not really comfortable at the time, so it's not a great place to be, and you want to get the job done as quickly as possible. I can imagine it's like working for the IRS or something. Anyway, point being, I want to know how this liquidity check works. So if any of you guys know, tell me. I'll obviously look it up myself as well, but it's been a question I've been asking myself. Although I was so busy, I would have looked into it. I don't know how I got into that subject, but yeah, today's the 13th. That's when it all starts, these sort of... we hope this slightly more adult way of managing the world financial system. So yes, so that's fantastic. And of course we've seen similar things on AMC. What a great day it was today. I'm sure you're happy about that. Rocky was laughing with me about it earlier. We were having a good laugh about that. So I was going to do some more TA, wasn't I? We're on the 15 minutes. That's not very useful. Let's go back to the daily and look at things. Let's go back. And I drew this line on. I think I did that before the stream even started. Actually, first thing I'll do is for the people, and I'll add a chapter so that the people who've been asking me can see is I'll delete this, right? That's that gone. That was the HPV, the historical volatility percentile, and I'll show you how you add it. It's not on my favorites here. Nope. So you type it. This is TradingView, and if you're on a different charting software, it might not be available to you, and if it is, I don't know how it's been worked out. This particular one is... the IP of it is very different from many of the other historical volatility indicators that you might have seen, like the historical volatility profile or historical volatility indicator or your built-in historical volatility are all different, okay? And they're all worked out radically differently from this one. So there's your historical volatility, and type it in, it doesn't show up automatically. You know, you would think it would because it's spelt the same, right? Volatility, Jamie. And then it's already come up for me at percentile, and it's the one with the Amperez SMA, right? There's this. I've got another donation. I have to go and check that in a second. Apple Blossom, thanks so much. I'm so glad I found you, Rocky and Jamie. It's been hard hodling alone, and without anyone to talk about it, and looks like you guys are crazy. I can't read because my boom's in the way of my chat. I'm going to move this over and start again. Sorry for that. I'm so glad I found you, Rocky and Jamie. It's been hard hodling alone, and anyone you talk to about it looks at you like you're crazy. You guys, you're not really alone, you know. Nobody in this chat right now or that watches these videos is alone. If you're tuning in live or later, especially live, you're not alone. We're all going through exactly the same thing. Every minute of every day, we're going through the same thing, regardless of our position size. So we're all together in this. But it is a very individual pursuit. Each of our decisions have to be based on our own circumstances and our own budget. So sometimes, even if you are with friends, you can feel like you're alone, and it's tough. And making these decisions, which we're all doing for such important reasons, the weight of them can be very tough. So why we trade? Because we believe that we can take charge of our own destiny that way. Whoops. So we're back. There's a quick shot of Coco looking out the window. There's the rest of the window. And here is back to me. Probably in this this really professional setup I've got at the minute. I'll have turned off the mic again knowing what I've done. Like, no, it says it's still working, right. That's the rest of your bing. We had the first part of the bing earlier and that's the end of it. So now all we're looking for is a big fat bong. Disaster tonight. It is, isn't it? It's a bit of a nightmare. This is trading halts. It looks like there are trading halts. You think there'll be trading halts on the way up? I've been having conversation with this about lots of people. GME is killing a setup today. I'm taking it to pieces, like totally destroying things. After GME moons, I'm coming to Scotland to drink a pint or 12 with you. Excellent. I don't know I'll be able to handle all 12. Go 6 each, right? And then I'll still survive. That was Tony. Thanks, Tony. Yes, and I'm going to be traveling all over the frickin' place. You know when this happens? Like, swear to goodness, man. How much is a round the world ticket? After COVID, you'd probably need loads of tests. That would add to the expense, but it'll all mean nothing come squeeze time. We're currently experiencing some turbulence. This is exactly right, okay? You know, things like this happen. If you've not got your seatbelt on, you're putting yourself in unnecessary danger. You're also going to put the person sitting in front of you in unnecessary danger, you know. I've heard if you brake too fast, it's like an elephant coming through, so use your own seatbelts. Numbers are one thing, but the community that has actually been brought together through the actions of some short hedge funds and the wonderful Roaring Kitty Reddit community is just amazing. Yes, props to Roaring Kitty, props to everybody here after he was mostly silenced. Props to each and every one of us stepping up. And I don't mean people doing the YouTubes, I mean each and every one of us, right? And from the people I've been speaking to, some of you have got fucking huge positions. Guys, like, you know, some of the people that are in this chat at the minute, talking as if they're just, you know, one of the normal apes, are sitting there with incredible position sizes, doing some serious damages, and it's great. It's great that we've all been brought together. It's so lovely. I love the positive side of that, of the community and all of us, and how friendly everything is. And I'm also dead motivated for completely other reasons because of everything that's been done to us and to our communities by the short hedge funds who act with impunity and think they're masters of the universe and couldn't even make a fucking sandwich, mate. I enjoyed Belhaven beer last time I was in Scotland. It's famous, isn't it? Belhaven, the brewery's just round the corner. Great beer. I absolutely love the fact that you're all having these problems. Makes us even feel like an idiot looking at the charts. Great, yeah, exactly. I'm a complete idiot. I'm just at least as stupid as most of the people I'll ever meet in various ways. So thanks very much. Right, so I'm getting distracted. I wanted to show people how to add this indicator so that they knew how to do it for themselves. And oh shit, I've just opened Photoshop, so that's not the right thing to do. Well, if I could just stop making mistakes. You know, if you could just stop making mistakes, Jimmy. Why is that not loading when I click that? I don't want this up. I want to close that. I want to have this. No, I want to have this. Yes, here we are. Finally, I'm back to the window I'm at. Right, as they say, bad things come in threes, don't they? So let's hope that's over. Right, I'd got as far as typing this in and spelling it correctly, which it'll surprise anyone who knows me. The one you want to be using is the historical volatility percentile and SMA, simple moving averages, by Ballypoor, who deserves the credit for making this. I think that this is, I don't know, right? I would, and I don't want to be saying bad things that aren't true, but I'd say that this is just a copy of this. And the person that made the real one is the one you want to be trusting. He's also a very, very, very smart person, and I've never heard of this person. So, and yes. Also, look, everybody trusts them. So this is the one you add, right? You click it, you add it, it's added to your charts. It gets added in a new pane below price action, which is where you want it. We're on the 2 daily chart. It's the pane. It's a there's no correlation with moves on this and the daily chart in particular, right? There really isn't. I mean, we can zoom down and look at it here and say, here was one that looked like incredibly good, but this was this period of crap volatility, and there's no real correlation with now, right? There just isn't. Anyway, so this is, but this isn't well known about this indicator, that it doesn't necessarily work on the daily time frame for many different assets. You want to be finding correlations across time frames. So if that was what you were looking at and you didn't turn down to the 4, I mean, pardon me, all you can also do, it looks the same, I'll show you. I mean, I've not got it as a favourite there, so I'd have to add it. But like the 6 and 8 hour, I'll show you the same deal, right? It's and the deal that it's showing you is this one. This is what we're looking at. take these Bollinger Bands off because they're just dragging the picture down a bit, and we talked about them earlier. Right, so we're looking at this huge period of volatility, which was followed by a decrease, huge period of volatility followed by a decrease, and we got down to these supremely low levels that we'd only ever been at 6 times since 2016. And on all of the occasions where we've seen it this low, we've seen, as this was the function of volatility. I mean, this indicator isn't something that's just going to end. You can go back and look at it, right? Every time it turns small, it gets big again. And the smaller it gets and the more crushed it becomes, then the more significant its expansion. This is the way this is just the way the maths work, right? And that's why I'd suggest using this indicator and not one that kind of looks like it or kind of sounds like it or is like a copy of it. Use this one because of the way it's calculated, right? It uses the previous 30 periods and then it draws them into an equation with comparatively to this previous 365 periods, and so it's a measure of current volatility as opposed to compared to and relative to where we've come from. And so there's a couple of different sums going on in there, worked out at different parts of the equation, which as a result, what we look at is when this is increasing, these are increasing relative to the ones before it. Okay, these are going to be bigger than the ones before it, and then they'll move up to being more volatile than when it's equally volatile here. That'll have meant that there has to be a bigger average true range on these candlesticks, and which means that when this expands. Not giving it that it doesn't necessarily dictate which direction it goes. But it means that it expands a lot, and the more this gets crushed, the more it expands. That's the way the maths work. So that doesn't mean to say it's happening right now, but we've also had a very nice day. And anyway, the point I was making was how you add the indicator and how do you make it look the same. Well, I mean, you'll have seen me there. I didn't adjust it. I didn't do anything to it. That's just out of the box settings. There are adjustments you can make to it on the inputs. You can change the length from 30 periods. But it's that for a reason, right? It's a month. Annual volume, 365 days. This is what you're looking for. Your source is the daily close, right? That's more important. That's why I'm in today at the daily close and not in the morning. If I could only do one, where the traders bring the price to a close at the day's end is what defines that candle, right? The start of it is the previous day's ending, unless we're talking about gaps, in which case, it's a different conversation. They're often filled. So that's that indicator. That's the settings straight out of the box. The guy that did it is really, really good at what he does. I don't suggest you get on his bad side, but he's really good at what he does, and that's that indicator. And he deserves a lot of credit for doing it, which he undoubtedly gets. And so, why is this fib here? Oh, that was the one I drew on for the day's move. Yeah, so fantastic news. And is Sybil saying anything, chat? Everybody okay? Compression leads to expansion. Exactly. What is the price going to be tomorrow? What's the price going to be tomorrow? Come on, guys. He's giving me these questions, and nobody on YouTube's going to give you an answer right about that. Literally nobody. So when the prices tomorrow come in and close, say around 189.37, you can say, what the fuck, Jamie? But really, that's not exactly Nostradamus style stuff, right? That's what we talked about earlier up here at the top, or this level of resistance. There's the level of resistance we really want to break on the close, looking at the daily candle. But those will obviously be wicks, but on the 4 hour they're significant, and the 4 hour time frame significant. So I would expect to see it would take a while to push beyond these levels. And when I say that, this looks like a vertical, like parabolic. It would have to go parabolic already from here to get out of that. And does that mean that's not going to happen? No, it does not mean that at all. We could easily do that. There's so many positive catalysts coming up. I'm just saying this is what the technical picture looks like, and you would manage your risk alongside that. So, and because I've done this for a long time, like that comes out, the risk management part of it comes out at the same time as the technical analysis part. That's the point in it in the first place, right guys? No, Andy, it will be $50 bajillion. $50 bajillion. Is this, oh, you're negotiating over the butt cream here, aren't you? I see what's going on. Yeah, I can see. Well, this is the thing. Like, inflation among apes, the bartering will go crazy when we're all completely swimming in GME profits. How likely are we to go down again? Well, I mean, a statistical reliabilities from this particular move. It's difficult to say. That's the thing with technical analysis. It really isn't predicting the future. It really isn't. It just tells you what you're likely to see next in the technical analysis, and then it's up to you to decipher what that means for prices. So I can tell you what's likely to happen next, and that we just deleted a fib there and talked through at the start of the stream how if we were to see a retracement from here, it would still be like you wouldn't necessarily say that, because look, we closed the daily above this closed this 4 hour anyway. I'm on this chart, so I'll answer that question on this chart. We closed here above this level where we wanted to. Which it means that this is still, you would consider that to be bullish, right? Like, regardless of if we talk about the nature of these candles, right, and candlestick patterns, and we can compare it to other ones, and we can talk about thrust strength and that. And I've covered the information about the DMI and how strong that was, right? So, I mean, I can't really actually remember what I've done, but I got to this point having done something, so I'm assuming it made sense. And if I was looking back over it, I would have looked at this and talked about the strength of this trend and how this indicator works. And I have vague memories of doing that. I would have talked about how this will not necessarily mean that it's going to happen immediately, but when it does, it's going to be big. And so this, and with the fib that I just deleted, I think I covered the idea that the various cases for like measuring the class of this bullish move based on the strength of a retracement from here. So rather than saying how likely is it we'll see a retracement from here, it's very difficult to say, right? Because we broke above resistance, and it's not significant resistance here earlier. And if we go back, there's no confluence at all in this relative to it. So you would say that having closed here, it's likely you test higher, right? Because what are we going to? There's no. I mean, do people want to test down here yet? Not necessarily. But if they do, because this is where the day closed, and that's just so happens to be what it was, and we broke above, so well done. And people think, well, I'm not necessarily going to jump on this train right now. I'm going to wait for some positive retest because I don't like to be underwater for a long time, and often it's day traders that initiate these sort of moves. So tomorrow when markets open up, are they going to open it there and buy it? No, you don't. Day traders aren't trading pre-markets unless they've got some sort of really good information about something. You generally wouldn't do that. It's not advisable. You would wait for some positive confluence, and that would come when the markets were open. You might look at a retrace to around to the 236. Like, I can draw this fib on now just so that there's various ways you could draw a fib on 4 hours on this, but we'll draw it from and say that this move is the move we're talking about, right? It's that's all it is, and that was the top of it. How likely are we to go down? Well, I can't tell you, give you a percentage of likelihood of that happening. I can just tell you that if we did go down and we came back from the 236 and then went up again, then you'd be hard pressed to find anybody stupid enough to be selling at this point here again around 170, and that which you if you're looking for the prices to go down, that's what you're hoping for. No one's going to do that, are they? When you've seen such a that was that we could only get a proxy test down to there. And what do we look at in the DMI? Well, we see on the 4 hour. Let's look at that, and we'll talk about how likely we are to go down, right? Even though the question really, the question is what happens when we go down, and how, and dependent on the answer will depend on how far we've gone down, and then that will dictate what strategy you'd use to take the best advantage of it, right? And that's how you think through this thing. But the question is, how likely are we to go down? Maybe you've got some other strategy on the go. So this is what I'd look at. I'd look at the DM. I mean, I could look at the RSI, but I'll already know that there's hidden bullish divergence, that it looks like we're doing fantastic, that it's closed above resistance. I don't need to. But I can measure the relative strength of this trend. And when I say relative, I mean relative to previous times it's looked similar, right? So there was a cross on the DMI positive, on the AD, on the DI plus, there was a cross up above the DI minus. There was then subsequently a test again of those two. Let's call it a test. It happened around the area here. It's going up here. Right, negative, retest, positive. Yeah. 4 hours. Right. Well, how likely are we go down again? On the 4 hours, pretty much you're wasting your time. Let's look at it on the daily time frame and see how likely are we to go down again. And we'll look at the DMI and see what it tells us. Although, the 4 hours also useful for this. I'll expand it a little bit just so I can click on it and open it up. How likely are we to go down again? Well, this is the daily time frame. You can see that this is negative, right? So it is pointing down, and it's very weak, and we're at the bearish control zone here. Well and truly, this also shows that there's a period of flux with the flashing grey background, which can suggest that when this ends, right, what commonly happens is the prices where the prices are when this ends will then have a wee move, right? It'll go somewhere, up or down somewhere, and then when that move that we've seen at the end of this period of flux finishes, when that move finishes, prices tend to be in and around the same place when they started. So any move we do see on the daily time frame when this indicator stops giving us this flash in the background, itself might not have continuation. It may just return to where we are, whichever direction it goes. So that doesn't necessarily give us any information for what is it like we'll go down, but it does say that if we do go down, we might come back again, or if we go up, we might come back again on very small, on the thrust of that move. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that we had a positive cross, a negative cross, a retest here. It's unlikely that this follows through because we would need this ADX to go through the floor to an area where it's really rarely been. No, this is where you see the ADX is. It's like a lot of colours going on, but it's kind of still easy enough to spot the cyan. And you can see this is where it puts in its lows. Has it been lower than this? Nowhere. And that defines the strength of the trend on the daily time frame. And if you're looking at the daily time frame and you're saying, well, it's lower highs, right? On the daily time frame, it is lower highs. It's lower highs and higher lows, but then there's a lower low here. So then you're saying, well, is that downtrend strong? No, it's absolutely weak ass downtrend. It's probably finished. In fact, we need to see that pointing up. So, but then that doesn't necessarily mean there isn't going to be a retest. So on a daily time, so let's go back down to the 4 hour. Look at this DMI. See, we've flied through the top there. Negative cross, tested it bad, came back straight through it, out of the bearish control zone. You might see another touch on it, like you would have expected here. You might see that again here and then moves up. We want to see that get up through the center line of the 38 line. This downtrend is crap. This positive inflection we've had recently is taken over. If we see this ADX cross above the center line, we could expect to see perhaps during that then another test of this coming in to meet the purple, then bouncing off each other or looking like a bounce, and then the ADX constantly strengthening throughout that period. We were looking at it on the 15 minutes here earlier, I think. Yeah, so we can see on the 15 minutes this indicator gives us a really good impression of the strength of trend when the ADX is above 38. When that's happening, this is a very strong trending move. And then that you would maybe discount the idea of there being some sort of divergence in these tops because of the strength of this ADX. And obviously we're at resistance, and that's the sort of thing that happens. So do I see it going down again? I mean, the probability of that happening based on what I've just been talking about is again, it's so hard to decipher. It just means that if it does go down, it's probably going to be a weak ass move. And if it goes up, you couldn't characterize it the same way because the downside would be not a significant down and returning to where we are, whereas the upside would be probably going through previous resistance and touching like long term or more significant resistance, and then perhaps coming back in around here. So I would lean to the bullish side of things, but would I expect to see something in and around the 236? Like, it's just so very common on a trending move to see that, they can't go insanely parabolic and not even touch 236 on these moves. Prices go in waves, right? You can look at the mean of this move and work out the coefficient between the highs and the lows, and there's probably an indicator that will do that for me right now, and we'll plot some sort of a mean through it and give us a expectation of how we could move into a parabolic move. But the truth is you have to look to horizontal support and resistance, which I probably should have got around to if I was doing the TA, and then I would be able to get a better answer at that question. Trade spotting, you're great at thinking and explaining on the hoof. Keep her lit, boy. Now we're sucking diesel, sucking mackerels, whatever your particular preference. So what? That question, is maybe coming from a place of maybe you were asking like how likely we are to go down again, like more significant move than that, and I just answered it in the context of this uptrend, like how are likely we are to go down again. Probably in that sense I gave a far too long an answer, because like maybe, perhaps, probably not much, and who gives a shit, it's what looks well good, mate. It's like the answer, but there's also the technical analysis to go along with it. And but if you're asking like how likely are we to come down and test this 136 area again, well, this is a really strong trend, right? I mean, that's perhaps you'd be looking at that and say, oh, there's a bit of divergence there, but that's normal. We've got reached into this, but overbought, not overbought, that's the wrong word, the bullish control zone on this indicator. Fuck that overbought word anyway, hate it. And then, and that's not really a high. This is not comparing highs. This is comparing like the relative thrust of this part of these moves. It's not comparing one high to the other. It's not taking like for like, and so like that's not even looking at divergence, right? Like this, I mean, this was just explaining why people might have taken profits there and been a little bit worried. Plus, we're coming up to power hour and daily close is fully normal. So, how likely do I think we are to go down again? I think that we've done, to a certain extent, we've put in a very positive move from here, which was lower than here, which had hidden bullish divergence, which is likely to play out to your upper resistance, at least on the 4-hour time frame, which we identified earlier as being up around this green line. How likely are we to go down again? Who gives a flying shit, mate? This is where we're going, eh? And somebody said to me yesterday, or earlier on, Jamie, where's the price is going to close at tomorrow? Which is like a weekly close. It's like asking more than you would on a normal day. And even me giving you that answer, my ability to answer like what day the price, what area the prices will close at tomorrow, would be significantly more likely to come true if I gave you that answer having looked at an hour of the first hour of tomorrow's price action, the first couple of hours, after things have happened on the killing floor Friday morning. You can expect volatility on Friday mornings, generally speaking. So chuck that into the mix and maybe it goes down a wee bit. If it goes to the 0.5, boom. If it goes to the 618 and up, that's a golden pocket retrace. You might never see these levels again for ages. This might be a really good move and might be setting up for a proper base for a parabolic jump, but that doesn't really match with this. What I would actually say is we've broken here, we want to test here. There might be areas in and around where we're at the minute we'd retest on that move, and this actually looks more to me something like that, right? That's blah about this. Then you're talking about 280 and stuff. 200's a stick on at the minute based on what we've seen from this and how that relates to here. If you ask me, it's just a matter of time. Plus there's plenty of other reasons I've said that. All last week I was saying we're looking at 200 and 202, and once we break it we're looking at 279, and we're still looking at those numbers, but this is the important one right now. And frankly, if I did all of that, then we will have no videos next week to talk about and be excited about when the price is happening. But if you want to know where the prices are going next, just look back through the last few videos. We've covered all of this, and we covered all of this, and we covered all of this, and we covered all of that, and we covered an awful lot of this in and around here. So, that's way too long an answer. Sorry. Andy A, that's what all these videos are great for. Great, yeah, great. I hope everybody's happy. 3 days ago I was lost, lol. Well, now you're found and you're with friends. What else am I going to talk about? I was going to do some TA. Is my camera still working? Is everything still good? The microphone's obviously still working. Let's give the man some upvotes. Way, I love you on upvotes there. Nice. Thanks so much for all of the people who tuned into last night's video. I thought it was important to get that HPV out there, partly because I thought, let's factor it into our trades for today, and how we look at the markets, and Also, let's get everybody else thinking about this because it's big news and true. It's brilliant. Draw a line of regression from the 2.57 lows to today. 2.57 low. Are you talking about 2.57? You're talking about on. Are you talking to someone else? Maybe this is part of a conversation. 2.57. You're talking about what? I'm not sure. Another regression from the 2.5 lows to find support. 2.5. Somebody says, yep, all good. Does that mean you're talking to each other? I don't understand. The 257. What's the 2.57? Trade spotting. No audio video shows on my end. Congratulations, trade spotting, Jamie. Is that coming in at the right place? Thumbs up, guys. Yeah, that's coming in at the right place. Great. I've got the chat at the right place. I suspect that you're not talking to me because I don't see what 2.57 is, but I could just be in my own head. No audio video shows on my end. That's that chat. Right. Great. Yeah. I don't know. Draw a line of regression from 2.57. Can't do it, mate, because I don't know what 2.57 is that we're actually talking about, even though I've said it about 10 times. It's not giving me any idea. Maybe you're talking about, there's no 257 fib level, so what is the chap talking about? It has 2.57, 236, you mean? Draw a line from the 236. I don't think he would have been saying that. I think he must be talking to somebody else. Anyway, right, so AMC kicking it. AMC's killing it, but I'm not going to cramp Rocky's style. Rocky covers AMC. He'll be on tomorrow. He does it 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays at market open. And if you're extremely, extremely lucky, maybe he'll come on at market close, but he does so much work during the week that that might be asking a lot. But Rocky is the one you want to check for technical analysis on AMC. Rocky's the one you want to check, as good as my price targets have been, and I say my price targets, they aren't. They're just like where I think that things will go based on the charts. Like how often that comes true, Rocky's is an equal hit rate on AMC. So there's no point in me doing it, really. He'll give you the answer. And I'm sure if you ask him in chat, he'll just give you price targets as well. He doesn't like doing that. It's kind of antithetical, but because his whole thing's about teaching people to be self-sufficient so that you'll always be able to rely on yourself. You'll have a trading strategy that's iterative, so when you make mistakes you can improve it, tweak it, get better, and then set yourself up for life. It's his whole idea, and he's helped loads of people do that sort of thing. So, but then every so often he'll just like tell you the answer if you're really nice to him. Rocky, get with it, man. We need more than 3 days. Yeah, we do. We need more than one every 3 days. I should be doing more than 2 live a week, shouldn't I? But then, this week, that was the minimum I set myself. And if such times there's other stuff to see, then I'll do it. And I'm gearing up to the fact that the squeeze is going to happen soon. And when it does, I'm going to have to be on a lot more often. So I've got other shit to get out of the way before that, organising my life, which on one hand might seem absurd. People are looking at you and they're like, why are you holding these positions? You're crazy. They're looking at me saying the same thing, and then I'm like, well, sorry mate, I can't got time to listen to your shit because it's just so real. I've got fuckloads of stuff I've got to get done before this happens. Anyway, I was going to do today, I drew that fib on again. I didn't want it on there, and I want that. Definitely don't want that big huge yellow line there. Yellow's much better. I've got green bananas on the thumbnail, but I'm not a fan of green bananas, nor am I a fan of the big bruised brown ones. I just want normal yellow bananas. Is that too much to ask? Citadel? Who would work for Citadel after this, eh? Like, seriously. Like Darth Vader or somebody looking for a job. That's about it. So, yeah, we're going to draw on horizontal support and resistance and do some real TA, Jamie, aren't we? So this is the low we put in there. We're going to not use green lines because psychology of it all, right? And we're not going to make them so thick because it distracts from the candles. That's green. We'll keep that one green because that's what we're looking for. That's our target. I could draw one in there at 191. If prices bounced around and all that, it might make me look good, but it's not significant for price action. What's significant for price action is in up around these levels, right? Now that's not 100% accurate, but it doesn't have to be. And if the price hits right on it, that's not my credit. Then up here you could look to the wicks, but there's a number of body closes and wicks that come in here, so put it there. And then so that's the short term things we're looking at. That's 279 area that we were talking about before. There's your 220 area, which is also like the 202, 198 area that you'll have seen. If you're a fan of Warden Elite, who if you aren't, you should be. He's been talking about this for a while. And and it's you know, I'd say 2.2. He says 198, more or less the same thing, right? And then beyond that, it's 279. Maybe you get something in around 220. You would expect to see some flux there and perhaps retest at that point. And this is like go to answer the chap's question that says, how likely are we to go down again? I answered it in the context of this move. Well, we are, but not from here. More likely from here or from here. Or obviously, you know, once we're up here. It's very far away. So that's that answer. There's your horizontal support and resistance. And I said I wasn't going to do them green. Now they are green. Tricked myself there. See, tricked myself already. See how bullishly I was talking there? And that was just because those lines were green. Right, green and white. Hail, hail. Right, cheerio, 10 in a row. Right, there we go. That's that. Let's draw a fib on here. Let's see what that overall move from top to bottom was and how far we've progressed in our recovery so far. We're above this 236. That's positive. That means this is a real retracement. Obviously, might go on beyond it. You'd also see up at the 618 reaches this level at around 230. This horizontal line here is about the 618. In and around the golden pocket is this 220 area. So this is the area I'm looking to at the minute. If I'm trying to take an options trade, you know, and I'm thinking about an expiry in a couple of weeks' time, perhaps just over that, and I could get an entry in it around for a expiry in around 220. Would I be happy with that? Considering that at the minute you can buy your volatility for sweet fuck all, and up there you'd be able to sell it for shitloads. Your Vega's fantastic. And the trade looks lovely, doesn't it, folks? It looks lovely. So there's your answer. And I haven't done the technical analysis yet. Jamie, come on. Yeah, so we've covered DMI. I can't be bothered looking at that again at the minute. We've covered it on the 4 hour. We've looked at the horizontal support and resistance. We've drawn on a fib to say where it is that we would see, you know, without even breaking any structure or changing any big bank accounts or any big accounts perspectives. You could easily see the prices up and around here. You know, the same thing that I was talking about on the way down with the 0.5, the 618. You know, same here. Do we want some upper targets on that? Well, let's say that everything goes fantastic and we have a real spurt of enthusiasm. Say that these liquidations do happen or are happening, and that this expiry date and time is on the Jamie Undercover brother from another mother. Yo, Stefan. Great, so everything's still working. Yeah, so if the liquidations all do happen, everything looks like it's really kicking off. It's still the same targets we've drawn out, right? You know, the fundamentals don't change what we'll see from the technicals, because these are derived from, anyway, we've covered that, and I can't be bothered having a philosophical discussion. If you don't believe me that the prices are going to 279, make a comment underneath one of my videos so that I can use it in a video clip with a soundtrack and laughing at you later. And up above that, you know, the 1414 is up at around 494, like you call it 480 because your previous highs with 1414. Between the 1272 and the 1414 is a common algo target anyway. The 1618 again, you could expect to see things up there. Would I see a retracement from up there? Yeah, we quite possibly could. And that might change the dynamic of a lot of different things. You know, it would be very, very difficult to describe any of this. I mean, actually, this is what I'll say, right? If we get up and above 480, to describe this as distribution would mean that you were either stupid or willfully ignorant, because periods of distribution don't make new highs. And so the idea that the squeeze had already been squozen, that narrative is dead, right? And it's dead to us anyway, right? It is. So that's that. What was I going to do? I was going to do more technical analysis. I was going to go down and look at the 15-minute time frame, but I've already kind of done this. I've already given away all the 15-minute secrets by talking about a chap's answer question, could we see this go down again? How likely are we to see it go down? And it did, right? We did it with this fib here. If you want to give me the tool, went from this here. Can you just do it when I'm... Oh my goodness, that's so annoying. It's my own fault too, of course it is. The computer... there we go. Right. Pardon me. Yeah, so like as I answer that question, like what do we see in the early like tomorrow if we see things come back and you see people getting in entries at 157, you think, that's a bit that's quite good, you know. It is slight like getting at 161, that's, you know, more likely if you're eager to get the trade, that's where you'll put your order. It's also at this point of the where the breakdown happens. So a lot of people will have orders there. It's obvious, right? Especially people who've sold anything up here and they're trying to get in like option contracts, which I've spoken to a number of people that have done this and they've taken profits here on their options trades, right? So it's not affecting the squeeze. And then with those profits, they're looking for places to put them back in, and the places where they'll put them, and this isn't financial advice, is 161.50, is then 156, 157.27, call it 157.27. You know, if you're looking for these numbers, that's them, right? 161.50, 157.27, 37, and then 15237. And so those orders I had at 120, which I already got the ones I was prepared to take more risk on, I've got already in around here. And the ones that I wanted a really low risk entry on, which I had at 120, I will be moving up to 15. Put it in at the bottom of that candle actually. 15348, knowing that the prices could still quite easily go down to the 14860, and I'd still be just as bullish, right? I'd have the same bullish perspective because I'm not using a stop loss, and because I don't think the prices are going to go back that far. That's where I'd put them in at, and if they did, I wouldn't begrudge them at all because I still feel like this is a bullish move until such times as we get back down around here, and then I'd be looking at a retest of that, and then I'd want to compare the strength of those moves, and it again might be bullish, right? So, and did you see Seeking Alpha decided to recommend people going short on GME? Like, did people see that, right? Like, seriously, eh? How obvious are you guys, eh? Like, how obvious are you doing it right now? Like, everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. I told everybody about this, you sneaky bastards. We've already know. You can't pull the wool over our eyes. We know what's fucking happening. Dickheads. You know, it's so fucking transparent, by the way. Sick of that shit. And this is the thing. I think what I need to do, right, is I need to find somebody who says like GME's not going up, it's going to go down, or whatever. Somebody that I can then direct this anger towards, because Seeking Alpha are just too big nebulous thing, right? And I can't really get round to. I don't know if they're even interested. Anyway, when this all kicks off and we've all done it, like, guys, there's so much validation in that as well as all the money. It's brilliant. And like the stuff that it'll prove to us about how to use TA and that, and people look back on everybody's TA and they'll look, they knew it was going to happen because of the charts, despite how crazy it sounded. They knew it was happening because of the charts. You know, I know this is happening because of the charts. I know why I know the squeeze is happening. Like, why I know the squeeze is happening, and I know it, right? So call me an idiot later on if it ever does. Is because of this. Like, you know, it is because of that, right? It's because of that. Like, some people will say this is Wyckoff, right? But actually, it isn't yet, and it won't be because of the nature of that. So, you know, I'm so sick of people saying stupid ass shit just to make themselves look good, you know. When I'm out here saying stuff that could make me look stupid as fuck, because I believe in it, and they're just out saying stuff to make themselves look good. They don't fucking. So this is my version of TA. Bloody hell. Right, is anyone actually still watching after these nonsense rants? Yeah, they are. 472 years. Yo, guys, how's it going? Thanks for sticking with me. So what's everyone talking about? What does people like to see, right? Because I've kind of covered tomorrow's price action. I've kind of covered where we're at. We've looked at all the other indicators loads. I mean, I could slap on the MACD and tell you what you want to see, but today was very positive. It'll look great. The RSI will tell you it looks very positive. It'll look like it's got hidden bullish divergence on it. We need to update something though. I think what we need to update is this monkey, because he's while he's very interesting, he's we'd rather have him hanging up here, our next target, rather than where we brought the close in at. Great, there we go. Bing bong. Bing bong. Finish up your whiskey and beers, guys. What's happening in Chat, this guy fucks. Yeah, totally. And a bang. This guy bangs as well. Yes, the rants are the best part. Great. They sell their newsletter out to the highest bidder. Aye, they do. They sell their newsletter out to their highest bidder. This is what they're doing. Their stupid, shitty newsletter. Shall we look at the annualized returns of their newsletter? If Seek and Alpha don't stop saying shit about GME, I'm going to look at the annualized returns of the Seek and Alpha newsletter. I'm going to talk about how it's been getting, it's been getting worse. We'll also compare it to the Shiller's Crash Confidence Index, and we'll say, let's look at how the average portfolio has performed. Let's look at how the general newsletter industry has performed, and let's look at Seeking Alphas and see how good they're doing. And let's pick them to pieces, right? We don't need this shit in our community. Oh, look, we recommend you go short. How about I recommend you go fuck yourselves? Download Grindr and set filter to gay bears, and you can direct your frustration to them. But I love the gay bears. I do love the gay bears. There's no way I can direct my frustrations at them. They're on our side. See if they're the sort of people that giving bears a bad name. These fucking Citadel fannies and Seeking Alpha twats. You know how to be on the wrong side of the fucking. Hey, how did you And you pick today, or whatever. Yesterday, Anyway, I find they're outstanding, outstanding that they made that decision. Fantastic, guys. Thanks for that donation. That's very generous of you, not ECAS, and it's in CA, dollars, which I'm guessing is Canadian dollars. Look at how I worked that out. I'm an genius. That's my fucking man. Damn right. Haha, preach. Yeah, exactly. Russ Ramirez, how's it going, buddy? I recommend you take on infinite risk during a bull flag. Infinite risk. There's a dangerous phrase. Hello, yeah, it's a bull flag. I mean, looks like a bull flag. People say, nah, it's drawn out too much, and it's this, and it's that, and it's whatever. And there was that lower period. I was and they think, what is their decision? Is it the fact that we made that lower low? Seriously, it's not even a lower low, guys. I describe this as a lower low. I'm doing it because it's lower than here, right? And it's not a lower low because that wasn't a low, right? That wasn't a low. This was our significant recent low. Market structure, guys. You know the basics, right? You're fucking making tons off your newsletter, scumbags. Allegedly. All of that's allegedly. They might actually be perfectly nice people, and if I've somehow managed to get things wrong. Hey Jamie, is your last name Outcrop like Rocky? Good one. El Diablo Burrito, if you hit XXX million in, I'm going to smear shit on the walls like a whale date because I can. Well, make sure they're not your own walls. My last name isn't Outcrop, it's Curran, Curran. You can find my Twitter, it's at _Jamie _Curran, Curran. You can find my Instagram, it's at King Jamie the First, because when I become king, I'll be the first one called Jamie. Obviously, right? So you can find me there. But I don't spend much time on Instagram, as you'll see there. Long story there. I'll tell you all about that some other time. Oh, I was going to do a thing where I was going to say, right, if we got to... What time is it now? Shit, Jesus. I mean, I should... What's wrong with me? Love just going to those terrible words when we're on stream, but when I'm actually... I think it's... Do you ever get that feeling when you were growing up? You know when you would just talk well, you'd always be you wouldn't be swearing or whatever, and your mum and dad might go out and you'd be left with your brother, like I was with Rocky. And you'd find yourself saying the words shit and fuck and stuff like this when you didn't really... I mean, this has all affected my advertising revenue. I should stop doing it, but whatever, right? That's not exactly my focus here, obviously. And then your parents wouldn't be in. Oh shit, I've just touched the mic again. Does everybody still hear me? Nice to put that, but I don't give away any private details such as hackers will try and get your trading accounts. Yeah, they will, but I mean, this is my Twitter account, right? It's got my last name on it, and my Instagram account, it's got my official title, King Jamie the First, on it, so they're not being the hackers ain't getting into me from that, but I'm sure everybody's vulnerable. There's two kinds of people in the world. There's people who haven't been hacked, and there's people who've been hacked. well, I fucked that up, didn't I? There's people who've been hacked, and then there's the other group of people who are going to be hacked. So yes, I mean, we should obviously take care of my private details and whatnot, and I think I generally speaking do, but like, those are my names. So my names, and those are my names, guys. And I was talking about something else. What was it? I can't remember before I answered that question. Yeah, but maybe it was good that I got distracted. Anyway, yeah, no, it's like that's what I was saying, right? You find yourself saying these words, and you don't even necessarily realise at the time. It's only when you hear maybe an unexpected noise and you think, oh, wait a minute, my parents maybe are here. And then you're like, I've been swearing for ages. Like, how does that happen, that thing? I'd always love to know how that happens, because as soon as I come on live streams, I start talking like really, really filthy language. Isn't that terrible? So what else is everyone saying in the chats? Yeah, remember OPSEC guy. Be careful. Yes. Operational security. Always remember that. It's true. Also, another trade, but I don't think we'll see an AMC GME type deal again for quite a while after this one, assuming it all comes to fruition. I don't know, but 100% I believe we're going to find out. Yeah, well, Andy A's got very good points there. Like, part of the reason that this squeeze is as it is because of the short interest. Like, the degree of the short interest is staggering. Like, there are squeezes, like we compare this previously, we compared all of this to Volkswagen and so on, and that particular market dynamic was because of this competing, this idea that they were competing for ownership. Pardon me. So it wasn't necessarily the short interest that caused the squeeze, it was the company buying up the float that caused the squeeze. And so that mechanism will always be there, right? I mean, that legitimate trade, and you see squeezes all the time. If it happens at around this period of like mergers and acquisitions and you catch a couple of people short, then you can see it going extra violent. And things like history as a prologue. We know if we've done it once, once it's happened once, and there's an awful lot of us, and if we sorry, Coco, a bit of a surprise for Coco there, and if we do all come out of this and say we make an average amount, on average we're all stinking rich and we're all still buddies, and if somebody comes up with some good DD and some good TA on a move and we all happen to get in and it changes the picture of an asset, then we'll probably be like, let's see how far we can take this one, right? And people will get out of our way then. You won't have fucking Seek and Alpha deciding to say, I recommend you go short on GME, or shit like that. Once they've seen us once they've all had egg on their face, then they'll know to shut up at that point. Rocky Egg-Crop, let's go. Yes, likewise, Andy A. He's definitely at Worth. I'm not sure who this is and what we're talking about. Kodama Roy, that's a big message. So, we're going to ignore my donation question? No way, we're not. Sounds good, man. You may be good at TA, but pay attention to your audience / questions being asked, especially if they donate towards you. Come on, dude. Oh, sorry, Kodama Roy. Let me check what that donation was. Definitely didn't mean to ignore it. Of course it didn't. She's shocked by reading that. Where is Kodama Boy? Super chat, $5. What's your price floor as well as your prediction on how long the squeeze will last? Well, I'll tell you what, Kodama Boy, that's €5 you've donated, so I'm going to give you your answer for that $5. But your $5 is worth shit all to me. What's worth less, way less than that rude message I just read out. Like, I never ignore my audience. I'm talking directly to all of you right now. So what I'll do is I'll give you your answer, and then never bother donating again, eh? Like, I'm not interested in that sort of thing, eh? You brought me down so much with that unnecessary comment. Oh, fuck's sake, eh? Right, so I'll give you your answer. What is the price floor as well as your prediction on how long the squeeze will last? Well, the price floor is whatever we decide it to be, right? Collectively, I would like to think that we've all got reasonably strong ambitions here, so I would hope that the price floor is really high. Any number you say at all will offend some people. Like, for example, I've had arguments in the comments with people about getting about when I say, like, well, people will take profit at 2 million. People are like, shut up, why are you saying that? The floor's at 10 million or the floor's 100 million. You have to deal with that sort of conversation. But the truth is, people will take profits there, and there'll be a mean profit return that each of us will get when you look back on it. And some people will get stupidly high, get out of really near the top, and some people will get out, relatively near the start, thinking that it's going up higher. So there's that aspect to where the floor will be. It's like very difficult to predict. So it's all about where we decide it's going to be, and there'll be along the road. There'll be lots of different areas where we might like think, oh shit, this doesn't look so great. We've done the Elliott waves theory that we've said we could see on the charts a reason that might take us to around $19 million per share. We've then looked at other things like I'm not sure if I did it on stream, but I've had to chat a little bit with a couple of different people in different forums about GAN theory and where that might suggest we go up to. And there are a number, just to put it short, a long answer short, there are a number of reasons why it's not unrealistic to suggest that 10 million, if we all held, could be achieved. Right? I'm not saying everybody will get every order filled there. I'm not saying that that's the peak and that it won't go up further than that, but it is definitely not impossible. With regards to the target I had back in January when we were the prices were like, this is a good answer. You know, this answer is actually worth way more than $5, mate. Never mind the fact that I had to read like this critique from you as well. Like, you know, the amount of YouTubers who would just ignore your message no matter what it said and just take your $5. There's actually YouTubers I respect who won't even look at your comment unless it's at least $10. Anyway, so here's your answer. When we were up here, I was saying my target is 69,420. Before we get there, the prices will go down to $40, and there will be a great entry price. After that, we will see lots of people telling us we're wrong, but the price will go up, and we'll be laughing at them for a while. We'll have to deal with their crap, and then we'll go up again. We're in that period, that like second last part of the paragraph there. We're at that now. I was saying 69,420 when we were here. I've since upped my targets. The first next level I went to was 350,000. And then having looked at all of the DD that's come out and thought about the kind of dynamics of the squeeze, I think 350,000 is more than achievable. And so targets like 500,000, 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, then they become the conversation. It sounds absurd. It sounds ridiculous. But that's the conversation we're having, right? And if it turns out that we only get up to 69,420, and that loads of people manage to get out there, and that we were never going to ever go further than it, and people get out, say we go up above it and come back, and there's some reason why we won't go, and people decide to get out, you know, it won't be me, I'm obligated to the stream and everybody here because of the community that's brought us together. Which kind of makes me feel guilty about the vitriol I feel and like responding so aggressively there. Maybe you don't deserve it, and I should not take it down a notch, and I apologise already because it's not necessary, and you were being generous to donate, and I shouldn't have reacted like that, so I'm very sorry, and I do genuinely hope that this answer is of some use to you. So, and how long do I think the squeeze will last? Well, this is and then another question, right? I've been having a separate conversation with people who say about circuit breakers and or what people say like halts, trading halts or whatever it is that people are saying, the circuit breakers, right? And they halt the price 7, 15, 25%, 25%. They halt it for the day, and if we're looking at prices getting up to 69,420 with incremental increases of 25%, then it could take fucking ages, right? If they halt it every time we get there. But the nature of circuit breakers and the why they were invented was in order to prevent price crashes when algorithmic spirals kick in, which we've seen, you know, a number of times since high frequency trading started. And that was the reason to stop it. They don't function the same way if you just give them an inverse purpose. Because what happens is, say for example, we get up to, let's just say we get to here, right? And that's a 25% increase, and trading halts. Then what does that do? Well, everyone who was here, who had an order in here, who would have been helping like the price stop, instead they move their orders up to the next level of resistance here, right? So then the market's open on the next day and the prices are there already. So the point in halting the market is completely defunct, and that's why we didn't see much of that shit in and around here. Sure, here, maybe. Not here. And so under those circumstances, it's unlikely that the squeeze will take, say, months and months and months. And large moves tend to be violent. You know, we've learned that ourselves. So we could expect it to be taking a while, though, because the ability to clear out debts that are as large as the ones we're talking about, if all of these short shares come home to roost, that'll take ages, right? I mean, in order to acquire these shares, they first have to liquidate all their other assets, and depending on the severity of the situation, that might not just be their computer liquidating all of their other holdings. It might be their buildings being sold from under them. Like it might be all sorts of different things if they go into receivership themselves, or if their DTCC insurance fund is forced to step in. Then we could see some terrible things happening. And even at the best case scenario for Citadel and for this, I've got another donation. I'll get around to that in a second. And anyway, point making. Like to answer your question, the two parts to your question, I think that if we all stick together and try and be strong, and the most we ever fall out is how you and I fell out there, which might all have been just hopefully was just a little bit of, it's now water under the bridge. If we all hold, then you can see these targets that everybody's talking about. So what do I personally think the floor is going to be? Well, it is impossible to predict, but I can tell you that these targets that other people have made aren't impossible, and I'd like to see us up at around 10 million. I would like to see that. Obviously, everyone would. Do I think it's unrealistic? That's such an annoying question, eh? It's like more as the question is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. And when we're on the way there, then I'll give you more of an update on how reliable like that target is. And then I've got some messages, so I better read them. In your spirit of you said, like, don't want me to ignore messages. I do care about the community. Fuck's sake, I really care how many people are watching it. People pissed off. Now they're still here, thank God. Don't take messages to heart. Thank you very much. You're doing fine, mate. Cheers. Shout out to Ape Andy. You two are my favourite for GME Bible. Thanks. Yeah, I really should take a sit back and relax and not take messages to heart and that. And the guy was just trying to get something across and make his point. And $5 means a lot to a lot of people. And thanks very much for putting it in there. And I appreciate it. Appreciate everyone here. Thanks, Jake, for reminding me of the right way to be. Coco. Hi. Hi. There's Coco. Oh, another donation was from Kodama. Oh, it was you again. I'm sorry. So, just going to acknowledge my message donation. Wow, man. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shit. You did say it. So, just going to acknowledge my message donation. Wow, man. You may be good at TA, but you're a fantastic creator as well. You're a fantastic creator as well. Come on, man. Oh, maybe that was a positive. Am I completely confused? Have I just read out a message really positive as if it was negative, and then that came in, and then I've done that? Shit, I don't know what I've done anymore. I'm still confused. Thanks so much for that donation, Kodama boy. I apologise for falling out with you earlier there. If it looked like I annoyed your message, or if I read the message wrong, which I quite possibly did. I don't know what I did anymore. I'll just accept all blame for that situation. Put it on me. I'm super sorry. What else happened there in chat? Well, I think a lot of people just don't see GME MC, don't see what GME MC are, so they just don't want to believe. Easier to assume the negative side, stay positive. Yeah, it's very much easier to assume. Everybody's taught this idea of like, we have to be realistic. Everybody's so used to having their dreams flushed down the toilet by this stage, right? That the older you get, the more used to these things you get. Forget it, no problem, it's all good, says Rocky. Great. Well, he's the sort of chap that knows these things. Kodama Boy says positive. Excellent. So we're friends now, right? Can I just confirm that me and Kodama Boy are friends now? I hope so. Jamie will never please everyone. It's true, I won't. But as long as I can please, like, I was hoping just to be able to please you guys, It's a staggering amount of people for me to see, like, over 500 people watching, but at the same time, should be able to keep 500 people happy, right? It's not that much. Should just stop taking things so personally. Jesus, Jimmy. No worries, my man. No came off as rude as well. No, I came as well. All love, you're great. Thanks. Yes, and I've heard that friendships that start off like that are stronger. So maybe me and you'll be good mates. Hopefully we are. And excellent. Thanks. And for everybody else who was nice there as well. Thank you very much. That was very good. And donations are very generous. Thank you so much. Yes. Today it's been crazy for donations. Wow, right, geez. Get my trader friend asking me what the fuck is happening. So I've shared you and Rocky's video. He's digging it. Awesome. Queen VIP Queen Bee, thanks so much. Everybody bring in, brilliant. Honorary Zoomer. Haha, what impact do you think the corporate news would have on the price movement? What corporate news? News catalysts. News catalysts you can usually see here before you see on CNBC. But what like the corporate news? What is the corporate news? Have I just got another donation as well? Just got off work. Can you give me a rundown on the price action for today? And what's your thoughts moving into next week? Thank you, Brandon Dale. Yeah, sure, Brandon. Oh yeah, Brandon. I've seen loads of your comments. Of course, I'll go over things again in a moment here. And give you a rundown on today. And what was the rest of the question? What are your thoughts into next week, GME? Okay, well, I kind of covered all those things, so I should be able to give you a good synopsis of it quite easily here. GME, should we just throw money at this thing as soon as we get it, or should we still buy the dips? No, don't throw money at things. You know, like definitely don't throw money at things ever in life. You know, although like it's great and we're positive and we have all these um, this is a mantra that I wanted to put out through the channel, and you'll have, if you've watched my videos, you'll have seen me say it plenty of times. Is that there is no help in rushing to be rich, and there is plenty of wealth in waiting to be right. So even if you like many people who trade, they don't necessarily do it for the material difference that the money will make to their lives. You know, after you get to a certain success rate in trading, for example, like people that are making like millions and millions of dollars a year trading, you might think that they'd be a good example of somebody because they've got so much money, they just chuck it at it, right? But no, the reason that you get that money and that you keep that money in life is because you're consistent with the sensible decisions and your mature approach to finances. And like nobody, you don't want to be giving your money away for free to anyone, whether it's 1 cent or $20. And so you want the best entry on the prices you'll take. You also will recognize that people will be doing that in and around the same time. And so you can contribute to this idea of like, where is support and so on by buying it at certain areas. And if you're also making decisions that are derived from technical analysis and then they prove to be right and you stick to a plan and benefit from it, then there's so much feeling of validation in that, and it improves your ability to trade in future. And like just using these strategies all the time to improve your own abilities will then serve you so well in future, and you should never compromise that just because you're feeling flush one day. So always buy the dips, but it's not just the dips. You know, this idea of buying the dips is actually like quite a clunkety way of trading. You can also buy breakouts, right? And I've got a video, I think you've seen it, on how to trade breakouts. And so like, I don't know if you can characterize it as a dip, but like a retest of an important zone. Anyway, I'm answering a question there, and a guy paid to have a different question answered. And like your chap said, I should definitely got to answer these questions. Right. What was about today's price action, right? So what will we get up to look at today's? We'll get this off because it doesn't need to be on there, and we could get all sorts of different things on this chart to help look at what look at average. Average true range. I hate it when it gives you these stupid ass colors every time. Like, that'll do. Okay, dokie. So our average true range, this is a percent. It's still, this is all not broken out of anything crazy, although the size of these candles look good. And where was our volume? We had our volume on earlier. Has it disappeared? No, there it is there. Where is it? Give me my volume. It's interesting. Today's volume was interesting, and I didn't even talk about it yet. I'm getting rid of this. I'm just going to use the volume. I should have had that in the first place. Where are you, volume? That's all there, and that's all right, and you're showing up, but you're actually not showing up. What's that all about? Volume merged down. And now we've got invisible volume here. Oh god, it's so annoying. I'm going to delete you and re-add you, and then I can answer this chap's question properly. It's just volume. That's how much to ask for, is it? Oh, it's because the top of this thing. Of course, silly Billy Timmy. Right. And as I was saying, well, we're here, so I might as well do it with you. I don't like them being positive and negative colors because it doesn't represent positive and negative price action. It doesn't mean anything like that. You know, slightly more buys than sells. Like, so what, eh? It's how many buys and sells there were relative to the day before. That's the only thing that you can take any statistical reliability from. And yeah, we do want a moving average, and we want it to be yellow because that's the color we like, and it's the bananas. So here's your moving average over the volume. You can see that, well, today we had a significant, like, let's actually Because this is like relative, the bars on this, so like the more price action you include, the smaller they get, and it's harder to see. So like I'll move it over just so you can see its relative strength to preceding days, and it was significant. In fact, we came in here. Because it's over price action, I'm not able to get its own panel, move this down, and then we can see. Yeah, I can't be bothered. Anyway, the fact is we had a staggering amount of volume. I think it was in around 8 million, right? Is it? What is it? That trading volume there in terms of dollars. I'm standing too long on something that's not really adding much information. So you can see we broke through the moving average. That's a significant part, regardless of how much it was. It's a figure that was like significantly larger than the average of those periods before. And this moving average is of 20. So there you go. It's like your 20 period moving average is anything like the 20 period is what people would consider the very least that you could use to identify a trend. And so we've broken that trend on that time frame. It's reasonably significant too. Last time we had volume, it was in along those levels, was on these sort of days, which, as you can see, was the first part of this particular little formation at the end of this move. So maybe we get more of it. That's like the most Fisher Price version way of describing that. Anyway. Also, we can see that this today's price action was represented by the DMI, still in this period of we don't know what the flipping heck is happening. You know, the trend is yet to be definitive, as defined by this flash in the background on our DMI. That period started in and around here, which was like after that volume kicked off, but as a continuation of that move. So since then, that trend hasn't been very strong, nor has the downward move off the back of it. So and then again, until this ADX starts pointing up, and specifically until it gets up to significantly higher levels, then this part of this trend is not significant. So on the daily time frame, but as we know on GME, the daily time frame doesn't tell us everything. And so if we drop down to the 4 hour, we can see that not only was our volume significant, but it came in line with the turn up in the DI positive when the DI minus was going down, which is quite works. And what we would love to have seen was the ADX moving up. We got to see it out of the bearish control zone, which is very positive. Hey Trace Button, I saw your stream yesterday. Well done predicting the upswing. Thanks very much. Yeah, well done all of us, really. I mean, yes, well done all of us. Like, the only thing I'm waiting to happen is for the 202 and the 279 to hit, and then I can go back to saying, right, my usual success rate again. But I'm not, my own personal, I'm like, it don't impress me much that I got that right. But then it wouldn't, would it? I told you it was happening. First time watching and first YouTube donation. Let's go. Awesome. Bean Machine. 2569. What a lovely little unusual number. Thanks very much. And I'm glad to be your first. That's a real privilege. Cheers, mate. I'll put that to good use for sure. I'll have to if I keep dropping this camera phone thing anymore, if that's going on. Thanks very much. That's really generous of you. Cheers. And no question or anything. So I feel like I owe you something. So if you ever need anything, just give me a shout. And then, what was I on? I was on the 4 hour and I was doing this and I was talking about where it was and I was helping I was giving Brandon a synopsis because he's come out of work. A hard day's work. Well done, Ape. Good on you. Yeah, so what we would really like to see, although this is quite a good positive start, is our ADX pointing up and moving out of this zone so that instead of being red, it was at least orange. Preferably, it would turn blue, which will happen once we get out and above truly away from this bearish control zone. Like away from here, this line. What do we call it here? Yeah, it's just called the top line, isn't it? No, that's the top. This is the bottom. This is the... Okay. Anyway, point being, we need to see the ADX above 38 to say that we're in a really, really strong trend and move. And on the 4 hour, you can see that we've managed to, like, this is delivered in a sense of under the way Brandon asked. The 4 hour was very positive. We managed to close above resistance. It's debatable if this is significant resistance. Really, you'd be looking up here, which is also where traders bought the daily candle to a close on our previous high. So this is what we're really looking for. But today's price action was significantly different from what people had been anticipating at the end of this move. You know, a lot of people would have said this is a head and shoulders, even though it's coming at the bottom of a downward trend. It can't be because it's a sort reversal pattern, not a continuation pattern, and a breakdown of a head and shoulders like they're saying here anyway. So it's not a head and shoulders. But anyway, the point I'd be making, Brandon, is we had a really positive day today. 4-hour candles suggest that we're all going up. It's a continuation of how things have looked since we put in this recent bottom. Anyone who got in there did well. We know that Dave Lauder did, and that hopefully the prices won't come back there just so we can turn around and say, we've got another hero in the charts who's buying the perfect dips, in the community buying the perfect dips. That'd be fantastic, and he deserves it too. So good to see that. So that was a very positive move on the 4-hour, and we want to see that testing up there. And where do I think and that's the daily price action. We can look down at the 15 minutes and say that there wasn't much to talk about. It was generally speaking up all day, and not only did it go up all day, like what we saw on the 4-hour with us breaking resistance is maybe not broken, so to speak, when you look at the 15 minutes, because we came in and didn't manage to close a candle up above here on our short-term resistance. You would still say that on the 4-hour we actually did manage to do so. And so there's like a little distinction that other people won't be making. If you're looking right across there, you could see that we maybe equaled it, but it's much of a muchness, and this is very positive. If we also turn on the RSI so we can add more context to this question. Oh, I've got another donation there. I should get back to that in 2 seconds. What I just turned on the RSI. See, this is pointing up. This is going up. It's higher than it is over here. If we don't then continue on, this is bullish divergence, right? Oscillator's higher than the price action. It's higher than our previous high. Well, it's not high, but it's the point we're comparing it to. It's also not statistically reliable as much. I've got another fucking donation. That's a massive one as well. Jeepers creepers. Point I'm trying to make here quickly before I go to the next question. The next part of the question is, this is bullish divergence if we don't go any higher, but it doesn't matter about that because we are going higher, kind of, and even if we see many pullbacks, I don't know if we'll see daily closes down below this level. I hope we don't. If we do, it's normal, to be honest, because we're still at this area, not significantly close above it yet, and you could easily see wicks up and down, periods of volatility entering the market, and that's normal. And where do I see prices expect to go to next week? Well, the horizontal lines of support and resistance that we drew on from before at and around 202, which was, what was that before? It was at the 0.5, yeah, and around there, my previous targets, but actually resistance on these timelines show us that we're up and around 220 would be like really good news if we could break there. 200 is where I'd expect. 220 would be fantastic if we break that. 279. Is that all going to happen next week? Personally, I don't think it's necessarily all going to happen next week, but that's the road we're on. So I hope that's a good answer for you. And then I've got to get back to these other chats. Shit, brilliant. First time watching Fascination, excellent, cool. And I said the other one to Brandon, cool. And Greg Keating just gave me money. Wow, thanks, Greg. That's really generous of you. Thank you. You know that I'm going to put this to good use. Thank you so much. You all make this whole thing so rewarding in every possible way. Amir Gur, I know you can't predict a cost, but seriously, a price you probably mean, but seriously, 1 million or 10 million, someone assumes a realistic price, please. Assume a realistic price, please. This is you donated, so I have to be nice to you as well. And let's look for what you probably mean with that. I know you can't predict a cost, right? You're not going to say, I can tell you the price is going here, but but do it anyway. 1 or 10 million. Someone assume a realistic price. So basically, I know that it'll be a guess, but please give me one and put your best effort towards it. And right, so there's 70. How many shares of GME are we talking here at the minute? Outstanding shares of GME. How many are there? Is it 70 or 700? Like, the question you're asking is such a very big one, because we have to work out, what's the market cap at that price floor, and how will that money be sourced in order to meet our demands? And sometimes, with the higher numbers, it does become a little bit of an issue. We're looking for the liquidity to meet our targets, and when I say that, there are targets that become unrealistic, right? 100 million per share is unrealistic because it's very difficult for us to have the readies. As you can imagine, anything above that is also very difficult. And you'd have to factor in the amount of people that are holding shares that would just be refusing to sell them, up at the multiple millions. So the question is 1 million or 10 million, someone pick a floor. Those numbers are much of a muchness to you, right? If you bought something that cost you, let's say you bought it at the absolute top that we've seen so far at $480, and somebody said, I'll give you $1 million for that. Sure, you'd rather give it to the guy that was offering you 10 million. But you would also accept the 1 million. And I'm not saying that that gives you an answer I'm not saying that's your answer. What I'm more saying is, think about your question, right? We can judge how likely 10 million will be when we're at 1 million. We can judge how likely 1 million will be when we're at 500,000, 250,000. And we can judge that when we're at 69,420. So do I think it's realistic? I've given the answer to that before, is that my version of that is it's not impossible. I think that there's lots of catalysts on the way pushing the price up. I believe in the squeeze. I understand the market dynamics, and I know that that means that theoretically the price is limitless. And so, honestly, my honest answer is the people that tell you it can go to 1 million, don't scoff at them, right? Listen to what they've got to say. The people that tell you it's going to 10 million, well, you're going to have to build in a lot of this concept of strong together apes, right? Because it'll take all of us deciding collectively not to get that, not to let the price go down, not to sell at any lower price in order to get there. And there are so many people that might sell on the way up, but then where are they going to sell at on the way up? Just where they think it looks good, right? Those people are probably all going to get out around here, or like at these targets that we've identified, all of these ways up 1,000, 2,000 and stuff. And are those enough people? I mean, we own, what is it? I've seen it. I saw a red thing yesterday that to me showed we were at least 140% of this thing. And I've seen other stuff where people that look quite realistic, that at the time of reading it, I wouldn't have argued with it, that suggested we're over 180%. So what is the shorts? Like, what are the number of shorts actually outstanding? And then you chuck in the synthetic shares on top of that. And you think, well, how many apes will sell on the way up? And will it cover those things, those areas? And it's debatable whether it will or not, right? So even with paper-handed people all the way up here, we still no way of saying that, well, that means we're not going to get there. And trust me, on the whole way, you'll have people tell you it's impossible, it's not going to happen. Seek and Alpha, who've already recommended everybody go short from about, how far underwater are everybody who believed in Seek Alpha at the minute? At 148 to 148, and we're currently at 164. So they're all underwater to the tune of $20 per share if they believe Seeking Alpha, which in order to get that advice they had to pay. Yeah, so the people like that will be telling you a whole way up to sell, and there'll be everybody telling you that it's unrealistic that it'll go 50p higher than where it is. Anyway, so that's the answer to that. So I hope that's an answer. Yeah, and then a massive donation. Go buy another share. I just found your channel and love listening to your great analysis. Aaron Baldwin. Oh my goodness. You just gave me enough to buy another share. That's amazing. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with it as well. Thank you so much, Aaron. Shit, I got your name wrong. Aaron. Mr. Baldwin, thank you very much. I take it you're not related to the Baldwin family in America, the old Hollywood guys, are you? Maybe you are, if you're so generous. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you found the channel. And you found it all for your own accord. That's fantastic, because most people here have been recommended by either Ape Andy or more recently, or constantly, I mean to say, by Rocky. And then a touch of it, similar deals from Word and Elite and other people recently. So most people in here have got friends that also do this sort of thing and present elsewhere. So thanks so much. To have found me and done that, yeah, that's really great, and I'm glad you're here. And you're very welcome, brother Aaron. And another donation, which I've just scripted off my screen. Oh my goodness, where has it gone? Is that it? Here's a $5, Shania. No questions asked. Thanks, Shania. Am I Shania? Here's a $5, Shania. That's from Aloha Mofos. I was reading that like it was Spanish, which it is. Here's a $5, Shania. No questions asked. Thanks very much. I'm going to put that to good use as well, which will also go towards GME. That's what everything's going to go to, really. Thanks so much, Aaron. Oh, KK's here. I see you, KK. Sorry I didn't see you earlier. Chat's been moving so fast. I've even missed a super chat or two, I think, until I got reminded properly to go and check them. Of course I should do too, so I should obviously have taken that better at the time. Advil Luma. Yo! Get the fuck out of here, Kenneth. That sounds friendly. Who's Kenneth? What are you doing? Maybe he's gone. There we go. He'll answer Amit. Yes, I'll answer. Where was Amit? Oh, did Amit say? Where was Amit? Did I answer Amit? Which one was Amit? Amit was up above. Amit Gadur. I know you can't predict cost, but series. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, I did answer that. Good, hopefully. And if that wasn't a good enough answer, let me know. I mean, I know to an extent I'm not directly answering your question. Oh, you did it again. Thanks for being nice. I will wait till 350k. Lol, yo, cool. Good to hear. That's a good price point. You know, a lot of people that I've been talking to that I've got a significant number of shares have said that I'm going to sell one share at $350,000 because that's all the money they need, and they're going to keep all the rest of their shares. So fair play if you're like that. Kenneth Griffin. Yeah, right. Damn right, Kenneth Griffin. Get the fuck out of here. I was thinking that after the squeeze happens, I'm going to send Kenneth Griffin a lot of flowers. I don't know where he lives, but I obviously know where he works. I'm going to send him flowers. I'm going to send him thank you cards. I'm going to send him boxes of chocolate. I'm going to go around the world visiting all of you guys. I'm going to take Polaroid selfies with each one of you who wants me to meet you, and I'm going to write on the back of it, thank you so much, Ken, and I'm going to post it to him. I'm going to keep fucking doing that for the rest of my life. That's what I'm going to do. And do I think that this thing is his fault and personally hate the guy for it or that? Yeah, I do. I do think you're responsible for a lot of this, Ken. You know, I really do, actually. And like, yeah, I do actually take that personally, what you've done, and that you act like you can get away with. Yeah, I do fucking take it personally, and that, and you know, I didn't have that a lot of personal disdain for you, Ken, until I saw the Senate committee, and saw our friend Roaring Kitty having to do that, you know, that intimidating experience, which wouldn't have been fun for him in the lead up to doing it, because of your shit, mate. And that when he was asked, you know, you were asked how many people were in a room with you, and all those lawyers sat around, like the amount of money that they're scoping off us with your naughty tactics. They're giving you advice on what to say just so you didn't tell the truth and fucked things up, mate. Yeah, I'm fucking pissed off with Ken. I'm going to send him these pictures all the time. A part of me, I shouldn't be swearing so much, and that, yeah, so he's getting these Polaroids when I visit all of you guys, getting them to his office. And if he doesn't work there anymore and his organisation is being absorbed by somebody else and he's working in upper management at some other place, then I'll send them there. And I'll not be the only one sending Ken flowers. And yeah, and then Rory Kitty was asked how many people are in the room with you, and he was on his own, eh? Like... You know, there was plenty of people like me right then that, like, just that was it. Agreed, yeah, big time. Moon Platoon. Yo, Moon Platoon, that's from Andrew Mo Money, who actually has said, over the last week I've watched a number of his videos, because people have been saying, like, oh, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that? And some of them have been positive, some of them not, and I've watched it, and I have to say, I actually like the guy. You know, I kind of like the guy. And I think he does all of us a lot of favours. So so for those people who've been saying negative things about anyone, please stop it, because I can't agree with you. Unless it's Ken Griffin, and we can all direct our anger at that guy, right? Because he's a complete fandan. And yeah, and then when things go well for us, then we can express that in postcards and flowers and boxes of chocolates. Yay, not really, I'm too crazy to feel old. Haha, cool. Andy, you're not old. I've listened to your comments. There's no way you can be old. You're cool, man. Andrew Moani is useless, just a speakerine. As for Warden, what makes him smart? He says all the stock can go up or down or sideways. Well, that's true. A lot of people do say that, but I've looked at his TA and I've seen that and make predictions. I mean, TA he doesn't say that. He's. I mean, sure, he does say that because it's true. It can do that, and I mean, maybe he's saying that because it's true. But he also does put his neck on the line, right? and he says that he thinks we're going to 198. He thinks it's a stick on, and I'd agree with him. So he's got that. I mean, I don't think he's that bad, and then I think Andrew Mulmoney's got a really good way of explaining some things, and I like his energy and enthusiasm. So these are things that they bring to the table. And I would hate to compare people to me and say that they're not as good as me because whatever, because all of these people are better at all their stuff than I am, like way better at it. So, like, and I can see that just watching their stuff, right? They don't have cameras that fall off their books. This is set up on books, and you've got a plant pot behind you holding you up here, guys, which at any minute could break. And this speaker, oh shit, if I just turned it off again, which I'm not very even good at holding, is Rocky's. So I am not. I am in no place to criticize anybody, and I'm really grateful for everybody who shows up. Fruity, yo, how's it going? Hi, Fruity. Who else is here, and what else are we saying? Tradespotting is a nice guy. There are worse figures than Andrew Mulmoney, like Ken. Haha, that's quite funny, because here in Edinburgh, Ken means, you know how some people, I just said it there, people will say, at the end of a sentence, like, oh, weather's terrible out there, or whatever, or like, tickets to that Ariana Grande concert were really like a total rip-off, Like, over here we'd be like, we'd say, it's fucking freezing outside, Ken. Or, sure, you're not wasting your money on that crap. You know what's she all about, Ken? What is she all about, eh? Seriously, what is she all about? Someone needs to, like, the people like her, eh? Like, I don't know, I'm not going to get dragged into another rant, but, like, then there's a lot of good and there's a lot of good there too. So fuck Jamie, stop it. Andy, Mulmoney really good at consolidating and clarifying lots of DD. Yeah, who else doing that? I don't know. Good point. Yeah, that's a good point, mate. Well said. Good point. Well made. Yo, yes, Andrew does a great service of reading and being positive, etc. Yeah, damn right. And he's there turning up for us every single day, and I include me in that. So we're turning up for him, and thanks very much. Anyway, this isn't the Andrew Mulmoney show, so I'm going to stop talking about that specifically, but I'm glad my views are clear. Tradespotting, mute attacks. What does that mean? I don't understand. Honestly, your TA is the only I've found to have actual knowledge, so thank you for that, Jamie. You're welcome, mate. I think you were the one that said it, and you were trying to make a positive mention about me, and I was taking lead from your comment to make my own. I know you weren't saying anything bad. What I meant to say, and what I should have said, that is, yeah, sure, thanks. I know it is good. It's really good. I put the work in to get this good. That's the truth. Eh? I could just be like, oh yeah, thanks. I'm just lucky, but it isn't all. It's hard work. And it took years to get to the places that would even be allowing me to learn this stuff. So yeah, thanks very much. It's appreciated. I put the effort in for you guys too on the TA. I'm not going to tell you something that isn't true, right? I mean, we all know that this is lower highs, right? I'm not saying that it isn't. And we know that that's a lower low. And we can say that this strength of trend isn't yet really fantastic. But we can also say that there is some bullish divergences formings. And the things look very positive, and like everything I've said before, so what I say is what it is, right? And I also say things like prices could go up and could go down, and I've been wrong, and I've not been wrong actually. But I am quite emphatic with my predictions, and I am full of conviction, and like I don't have any problem with making predictions, so yeah, I am different from them. So whatever, why am I talking about myself? Whatever, everybody knows what I'm like. It comes off pretty freaking obvious, doesn't it? I think it comes out quite obvious. I've been looking past you guys at the chat. I need to fix that setup. I've noticed that's wrong already. I love the anger in your voice. Thank you very much. Yes, it's there and it's running through my body. Sir, send Kenny a postcard. Fucking hilarious. Yeah, it'll be a postcard. It'll be like, I just put a stamp on the front of the photograph. And then like Tipex on his address, and then on the back you write them. Or you can write on the back at the top left or the top right. Top right over in our country, our soon, right in the top right, their address, and then all around it write the message to him, and like little kisses and hugs at the bottom. And I'll be posting them to Ken Griffin after the squeeze, and I urge you all to do the same. I think it would be hilarious if we had he and to console himself after what happens, he was able to have a big bag of fan mail. That'd be great. And it's just like, so that's the chat. When do you think the squeeze will happen? I think the squeeze will happen. The squeeze, I think, will happen before July. It's difficult to give an answer better than that. But that's the answer I'm given. VIX is the volatility index. Yes, the VIX is the volatility index. It was devised by the Chicago Board of Exchange. They do it separate, independently of other exchanges. They do it themselves. Came up with it because Chicago, the financial centers in America and how it works. Options and market makers and commodities and how that all that grew up in Chicago meant that over there, like, cultures were different, indicators were different, things that they were trying to do were different, and so they trade Vega because they're option traders. Like, that Vega comes into your calculations, so and in all of them. So and it's one of the most important things, and so they came up with a way of measuring it. Measuring that volatility is called the Volatility Index, VIX, from the Chicago Board of Exchange. So that's the answer to that question, which I didn't even see. What about Vlad? What do I think about Vlad? Well, what do I think about Vlad? Vlad made a lot of money on Dogecoin, didn't he? And so that kind of makes me like him. What do I think about that? You see, there's two things I think about Vlad. That, which is like, meh, and then, but not really specifically related to him. And then there's the fact that he's like, he didn't have the privileges that many of the other people in this story have had when he was born, and he did a lot of good stuff himself. I don't think that this marketing idea, this marketing idea that Robinhood have got of the democratization of stocks, that's a false narrative that you're being sold as part of a PR department, right? The actual truth is that financial instruments democratize access to the stock markets, and just because you're not charging people per trade doesn't mean you're democratizing something, right? Especially when he's like later on, has to clarify that they let payment for order flows happening, and that, like, we all know this narrative, right? So I'm not like blowing anybody's socks off with blockbuster information, but we all know, that he wasn't very clear about it before, and it subsequently turned out that there was payment for order flow, and that the same people that did that took advantage of that, were the market makers that were feeding everything back into the system. That they were in control of them, that they were also in control of the liquidity, they were in control of loads of different dark pools, and that they were the ones who had control over they were a large part of the determining factor with why Robinhood prevented everybody from buying the shares, which prevented the squeeze. And the question is, was he able to do anything about this? Was Vlad able to do anything about that pressure he was put under at that point? And I suspect not, because long before, this is a chart, it's GME, it's nothing to do with Vlad really. Long before then, so what I mean is my cursor moving off there doesn't mean anything. He got into bed with Ken, didn't he? And at the time, he might have thought that was the best option. And so I don't blame him for that. And at this point, it was Ken forcing him to do stuff here. So at that point, he was a little bit of a hostage. And so I could, again, sympathize with him. But has he done anything to make up for that? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that he needs to, but from me to think, like, well, he was a bit of a fan, Dan. I mean, sure, we can all say, like, yeah, but Ken made me do it. We could all say Ken made me do it. We could take the same argument here and say, oh, sorry, Apes, I just shat the bed and ditched everything because, like, I'm a bit of a fanny myself, like your Vlad man, and Ken made me do it. It was all Ken. He could have at this stage thought, well, fuck you and your liquidity request, and gone elsewhere. There were other options for the guy, and it eventually ended up taking him, like, whatever it was, 48 hours to pull his finger out anyway. And that not having a plan and leaving us up the lurch at this point was a bit of a disgrace. And further to all of that, he had to acquiesce, because if he didn't, they'd be forced closing everybody's positions, them in a loss and them in profit, on every asset they owned across the board, and it would have been terrible for a lot of different people. And whose responsibility was it to prevent that? Well, his, eh? So, like, while I'm not going to go out here and say, like, he was doing things on purpose and he's a fucking bastard, which is what maybe perhaps you might characterize my take on Ken would be. Certainly, he can take it that way if he wants to. With Vlad, I'd say like there's a degree of incompetence. I find it unusual for somebody who's like quite smart in all these other ways, and I think that it speaks to his morals. And I think that if he had been motivated to be a better person, he would have dealt with it differently. I think he also could have been a hero CEO of our times had he dealt with it differently. But as it is, he's a fanny, and his company can get to fuck. You can take Robinhood. This is my advice for you if you've got Robinhood, right? Now, this is without prejudice, so if you're listening, Robinhood, you can't sue me and go fuck yourself. The other thing is, if you have Robinhood and your shares in Robinhood, what you should do is you should transfer your shares out of Robinhood to Fidelity. Then you should delete Robinhood off your phone, right? Then you should use the wipe function to completely wipe your phone. Then you should take that phone and you should boot it as far as you can down the street and never look at it again. So that's what I think about Robinhood. What do I think about Vlad? I think he's incompetent and he's antithetical, and that if he was a good guy, he'd have done more about it, but he didn't, so fuck him. And the truth is, we move on, we move on, Vlad, and we're not fucking interested in your companies anymore. That's why you have to make money off Dogecoin, because your chance of being somebody that the world at large respects is gone, it's dead, and that's because you made a decision at the time when you could have been a hero and instead you were a fandan. Vlad the Impaler bastard, exactly. Yeah, on a roll. Yo, lol, dumpstered in. Ha. Ha, this is gold. Great. Vic Vince. Yo, Vic Vince, I've got a number of Patreon sponsors. People sponsoring this channel, putting in donations, keeping things ticking over and looking good. Oh, my viewers have gone down by a significant amount since I started talking about Vlad. Well, that's just because people need to go to sleep and live their lives, right? It's a 24-hour world here. People are all over the different time zones and all that. So I completely understand nobody has to stick around forever, and maybe not focusing on the charts too much and giving you enough information. Probably could, maybe more people being if I was doing that. Certainly not doing as good a job. I'm reading out all the chat like we're all mates here and that, and which we are. So like that's fine. Fuck it. Told it like a true fucking Scotsman. Love it. Miss home. Yo. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're famous for that, aren't we, mate? Hey guys, new here. Level to watch next is $200. $200, buddy. 198, $200. Well, no, it's not. Look, like I've got lines on the chart that tell me. Why am I saying that? The level to watch next is 178. Now you might think that's just over there, but it is just over there. But it's also resistance, so that's the next one. Beyond that, it's you can take your pick, right? It's either 198, 202, or 220. But the important level isn't those. It's like how we perform at around 180, 179, that sort of area. So that's your next level. And you're talking about next significant level is 200, and above that is 279. And then after that you might be looking at 350. But what's the point? You're actually looking at 480, and then at 480 you're measuring any retrace we get from people who paper hand out at the top there before, or got in at the top and are now like, oh, I bought it so expensive up here, and I had no position management skills. I was completely incompetent at trading. So not only did I buy the absolute top, I then didn't add any of these obvious inflection points along the way, any of them, even though I was watching YouTube and people were telling me all about it at the time. I'm still stupid and only entered here, and then we'll get up there and they'll be like, and now I'm going to be twice as stupid, and I'm going to punish the market, which the market doesn't give two fucks, by the way, and I'm going to sell my position up here, and they're going to get out having gained nothing from the whole trade. So those people will push us down a little bit at that point. At which point, people like us will say, we've proved the narrative about the squeeze. We've proved that it's happening again. And we'll buy more of the fucking thing. And then we'll laugh at those people when we go up here. And they'll talk to their friends about that time back in 2021 when the GMA squeezed. And they were in on it only for 5 minutes of positive price action, but for months of negative price action. And all they ever did was fuck up their own bank balance. And trading's dangerous. You can't trade. Yeah, those sort of people. So they'll sell little bits here and then we'll buy it here. And sorry, that wasn't very mature. I was just being silly there. And those people are among us and we like them and they're okay. So we're not going to get too big on them. Here's some big messages in chat, so I'll read them. And if I've missed shit, I better check that I've not missed any super chats because people don't like that. And I do know that people don't like that. And they're very right to not like that. And I understand. So where is this Streamlab software out there? Is there... That's Amit. Thank God I haven't missed anything. Okay, awesome. Great. And then I can read this big message. Unfortunately, I have 3 accounts. One is in Robberhood, bastards. Transfer it out, mate. You can do it. Made a bit today selling AMC calls. Cool. Just selling calls. Or did you own calls that you got rid of? Still, Vlad has got away with a bit of my money. Yeah, he's got a bit away with a lot of people's money, mate. He got away with shitloads of people's money. That's what he did. That's the bottom line. He got away with a lot of people's money. And he didn't do all of those things that Ken asked him because he was trying to protect his customers' accounts. That was just a consequence of him trying to protect his own company. If you were to give a pessimistic guess on what the floor will be, what would you be your guess? I wouldn't be surprised if a good chunk of people handed people are around 50k, because it's a round number. You think that's not a crazy suggestion. The thing is with round numbers, right, is like they're magnets. People say they're like magnets, right? And you can check this stuff yourself, right? I'll give you what people say and then I'll tell you what actually happens. So people say when you go to 9, they say it's going to go to 10. And they're right? It usually is going to go to 10. But the important thing about this all isn't that it's going to go to 10. It's that if it goes to 10, it'll go to 10.20, right? And then at 10.20, you might think about those people who are like, wow, that was great. We got past 10, take a little bit off the table. And so 50, what is that? It's likely to drag things up from, say, 40. You get to 45, like 47, 48. You're obviously going to go at 50. But when you get to 50, you've made 50, right? So there'll probably be another push on, and then it might come back down at 50 and go on again. And see, I don't think that if we get to 50, things are going to stop. I don't think that the apes will be, it's not a lack of ambition, but it's that I don't think apes are going to say, right, cool, so we broke 480, the squeeze is definitely on. We break 2000, and then all narratives about, well, that's the maximum it's going to be. Like, I've seen plenty of people that don't necessarily believe in the squeeze, but think that 2000 is the top. When we get through there, then the targets that we all know each other share are really, really high. Like I've told you about, some people are putting on one share for sale at 350 and just keeping the rest of it regardless of what happens. People who have got loads of money already and have got quite reasonably large positions and can afford to just ditch what, it cost them 100, and similar that donation, I got 164.50. It cost them slightly less than that for their shares. And that's nothing to them, right? And 10 times that is nothing to them. They'll just keep them. And yeah, sure, it's up at 50 grand. Are they going to sell it? No, they're not, mate. These people aren't going to sell it. Not these ones, not. And sure, there'll be the odd ape here and there that think, wow, 50 grand, I never expected to do that, and they'll sell their shares. But there'll be far more that would think, like, there's just the number just above that, 69,420, that millions of people that first heard about GME, millions is maybe an exaggeration, but with tens of thousands of people, when they first got in, said, floor 69,420. So, like, there's this aspect to it, so do I think 50 grand? Well, like, I mean, if we're going to talk about 50, then let's talk about 69,420, but then the dynamics of the squeeze, who knows, right? The more you ask, the more it becomes true, or thought. Wait a minute, I should read the start of these questions. When Lambo? There's a good question. I wonder, Julian. Ape Andy said it really well. What did Ape Andy say? He says loads of things, and everything he says is really well. Somebody tell me what Ape Andy said, most specifically what he said really well about that particular point. Anyone heard of the dark fiber stories also? No, I've not heard of dark fiber. Am I reading that right? Anyway, maybe I'm like pissing everybody off by just reading out chat messages. That's definitely not this. I'm not adding to the community much doing that, am I? What should I do next, guys? Tell me something to do. Just sell on the way down. Yeah. Andy. Yeah, Andy's got a great explanation of why you don't want to sell on the way up, because you don't know where the top is. You're only going to know where the top is when we've started to go down again. And so at that point, you will be going past these levels already that you might say, like, oh, I'd like to sell at 50 grand. Well, like, I tell you what, right, we're going to go, when we get, like, if and when we get to 50 grand, I've already explained why it's likely we'll go beyond it. And so why would you sell at 50 thinking it's probably going to go beyond it, right? Especially when you're asking yourself this question at 47, 48, and you're thinking, like, do I put that order on at 50? Well, you can wait till the prices go beyond, and then when they come back, right, they'll hit 50 again. So that means you've got two chances they'll sell at 50. If you take the second one, rather than the first one, then in between those, instead of it going to 52, 54, it could go to $1 million. And at $1 million, you know, you're going to say, well, I wish I'd listened to TradeSpot in that time and thought about the second time we hit 50 grand. And I'll take the trade on the second time we hit 50 grand because we're at $1 million. Whereas if you hit it on the first way past and you're like, hey, yeah, well, I got my 50 grand, you might think that you've done a good decision. And you might have done, right? You might be able to like retail your swimming pool or something. But 50 grand isn't changing anybody's life. Not nowadays, not with 3.8% projected inflation. Hey Jay, Warren Elite was streaming today and said he thinks that the hedgies will short us tomorrow and try and break the uptrend. What are your thoughts on that and a retest back to 155-ish? Yeah, the shorties will try and attack us. It's a Friday, right? You know, look at they will, right? And they'll do it on the opening hour of tomorrow's chart. That's when they'll put a lot of pressure in there. And then the hour after lunch, and then around the close, we'll see what's really going on. Which is what happens. That's the way it works, right? That's what it's like at killing hour. That's what it's like on Friday. That's what it's like at this time of the month. That's how things go. So that's what people are going to do. Also, the max pain on contract expiration is around $152.50. Which happens to be the 0.5 retrace on the Fibonacci that I drew in and said there'd be a good order, and that's where I'm going to lift my orders from 120 up to, because that's where I'm thinking is the next best entry. So yes, they'll probably try and push it down. Yes, they'll get it to the 0.5. Yes, I'll get my order, and then I'll be on the chat in Rocky's stream when he's talking about it, saying, got my order, folks. You were right. They did push it down. Warren Elite was right. Anybody else who's mentioned anything like that was right. That's how it goes that day of the week. That's how things are. This is the chat. Welcome to the behind the scenes. These are the machinations. Yes, they'll try and push it down tomorrow. 150, 250 looks reasonable. Looks like a reasonable place. And I'm not saying I want them to push it into my order place. I'll take the orders when it gets there, and I'll take the order, the donation from Aaron Baldwin, and it'll also be going there. And if it gets there, I'll be able to thank Aaron twice, because not only did he donate the amount that I'd need to buy a share right now, but he gave me the opportunity to get it at a time where I could pick a safe entry that also validates my technical analysis and makes me so I can rely on this stuff. So I've got more chat coming in now, so answer this. I love this copy pasta bot. I don't know who it is, but I love it too. What is a copy pasta bot? How much resistance can there be with no shares? Well, the liquidity check was today. How much resistance can there be with no shares? Market maker. People buy shares. Like, this is a thing. Like, you want to keep an eye on the open interest across all the different expiration dates. And you want to look at that information tomorrow. It's important to see how that changes. Not the short interest specifically, the open interest across the different expirations. And that's a good time to look at that sort of information for a variety of reasons. What was the question exactly? How much resistance can there be with no shares? Yeah, this is the thing, there's been no shares for ages, buddy. Another donation. No, that's not. That's me clicked that by mistake. There's been no shares for ages, mate. We own about 140. I'm inclined to believe 180% of this thing. We own it. You, me, and everybody else in chat, and all the people watching, all the other YouTubers, and like the other people at home that raid Wall Street Bets but hate YouTube. People that use gaming discords and have slipped into other ones that talk about GME and AMC. We own this thing, man. There are no shares, yet they still manage to put in resistance. Part of that is that many of the institutions who buy this stuff then put it onto the market for people to borrow. The only reason to borrow it is to go short on it. They go short, that forms the resistance. They think they're going to make something out of it, or they think they're going to improve their position, or it's like a last gasp attempt to keep structure looking negative so that people like us will give up. But we're not giving up. If anything, they're pissing us off more. The longer it goes on, the longer we're going to hold. All they're doing is conditioning us to holding. They're, without meaning to, fixing the biggest problem with retail traders. They're teaching us all patience. They're teaching us that every day, sometimes in really extreme price moves, they're teaching us how not to get afraid. Other times they're teaching us how to say, that's not enough money for me. I deserve more on this risk that I'm taking. I deserve more. I'm going to hold. And yeah, time for what happens. But like, how much more can they affect people when all of us have basically been, the vast majority of people have been off work, have had their incomes reduced, and yet we're still buying it. So how much resistance can there be? Well, there can be resistance. It's mostly about how much volume we see. If we break through it on positive volume, the resistance, then those targets that somebody else had asked earlier will be hit sooner rather than later, maybe tomorrow. If we break through resistance on volume, expect the higher targets to be hit, and no problem at all. The shorties never intended to cover. No, they didn't. They will be forced to liquidate. Exactly, we own too much. I don't even know if it's possible that they could cover. I don't think it's possible. This idea that they've covered means that I don't that we don't actually own the things we all know we do. Where are they getting shares to cover from? We own all of them. And they didn't plan on covering. This wasn't a move, especially Melvin. Melvin's move wasn't one where they were like, and you'll have seen in his interview, and you can go back and watch it. It's all over YouTube. He was asked if they hold an outstanding short position, and he said no, that he doesn't believe they hold any. Right? He wasn't asked if they covered, and he never said we covered. So what I would suspect happened, and if you know the history between Melvin and Citadel, it's not really difficult to connect the dots. Ken Griffin helped out his mate. His protege, maybe. He helped him out and absorbed his position, and probably his entire company. I mean, what have Melvin been doing recently? Are the lights on at Melvin Capital? Where is their offices? Are people down there shining a torch through the window? People there? Are people there? Does anyone know this stuff? Melvin said they covered in a press release. Oh, they did say they covered, did they? They said they covered in a press release. Oh, was this the press releases that were coming out at the time that were being paid, like the paid press releases? Was this the press releases that were being publicized in paid adverts across different media outlets? We have covered our position. Please stop poking us in the bum. We've covered. Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, that press release would have looked a whole lot better with some actual information on it. How did they cover? Did they cover by just actually letting their whole position be absorbed by Citadel, who are now on the hook for it? Is that what happened? Is that their version of covering? I'd like to know the terminology. I'd also like to know if somebody's actually, where is Melvin's offices? Is anyone shining a torch in the window? I mean, I don't expect anyone in our chat group right now to have done it, but what's the chat with that thing? Got a donation from Graham Pipe. No, sorry, Graham. Orphan Pipe. Yes, Orphan Pipe, not Organ Pipe. Orphan Pipe. Happy Thursday. Gave you a shout out on Trey's Trays via Super Chat today. Wow, Super Chat donation to Trey to get the shout out to me. Thanks very much. Well, Trey, high energy, high intensity. He's in AMC and GME, I think, isn't he? Does he own shares enough of them? Bing bong. Yeah, shout out to Trey too. That's good. You give him a donation. Awesome. Thanks very much for donating to me there. Now that was really good. Yeah, Trey is the sort of person, if you're in a big trade, if you're on trade, there are always people like Trey if you're on the trading floor. They're usually a little bit nippy when you're there. But there is a couple of dudes like that, and you appreciate having them around, and I like that he's on YouTube doing his thing. I really respect the guy. He's done a good job there. Citadel bailed out Melvin to avoid their own margin call. No one covered. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, that's like the dots that we're all drawing, right? That's covered quotation marks their shorts with married puts and calls, yeah. Or rolled them over with deep in the money. Yeah, like fuck off, like with their, I mean, hey, they think that it's just too many big words in here, folks. I think we get away with this one. We'll just put in that word and this word, and look, that's reasonably ambiguous, and we put this statement out there to anyone who knows what they're talking about. It looks like a big nebulous pile of shite. But you see those crowds over at CNBC, they're going to read this out. And see those guys on the whatever stupid websites that we're paying to take their adverts, they'll believe this crap. Check Melvin website, it's been shut off for months. Their website's shut off, called their office up as well, REP, no chance to get through. Really? Their website's down, and you can't get through on the phones. Like, this is customer service, yeah, well, there's the client phone numbers. They're not answering the phone. What's happening with that? So what do you do if you were a client? Well, they just operate. That's the thing. Will Melvin just operate? This is the thing, right? Where did Melvin's money come from? Was it in client accounts? I don't know the state of that situation. Or was that all just money that he was using that was given to him by Ken? Is that just Ken's money that he was? Because if so, like, Ken's Ken's already up to it in his fucking neck, isn't he? And he had to sit on that Senate hearing with your boy saying we've covered and that, and like acting like it's not my fault. And Ken's the one that's having to pick up the bag. Fuck you, Ken, you twat. Why are you getting yourself into situations like that? Serves you fucking right, you idiot. Covered, maybe more along in the money call options. Yeah, they were doing that. DFJ2 guy, I think his name is, on Reddit, spotted all that and figured out a lot of it. Yes, a lot of respect to that guy. Well done. I saw a body hanging in the window. Hey, that's not funny. I certainly thought it was funny, but surely now I'm looking at it and analysing it, I'm thinking it can't be, but I did laugh. It definitely laughed. Gabe P has probably offshored his money and will resurrect us under another hedgie, under another name. Yeah, I can imagine. Plotkin. How do you pronounce his name? Plotkin. Anyway, I don't actually have a problem with that guy. You know, he was probably following Ken's suggestion. If he was operating with Ken's money and he made that move, he was probably following Ken's suggestion, thinking this will turn my hedge fund into a significant player. I'll be able to join the fucking DTCC and have a laugh, screwing everybody and breaking the rules the same way I did when I was working with Citadel, and we all did. It's probably what he was thinking. And Ken was like, just short GME and AMC and look, do it with this money. I'll give it to you. You'll build yourself a nice little nest egg and a good company with that. What's going to happen with the option market? Like, who will buy my calls back if they end up being worth 100k plus? Found you off YouTube, recommended. Thanks very much. YouTube recommended. Oh, Brandon, it's you again, and you're donated again. You don't need to donate every time, mate. Wow, this is so generous. Who's going to buy them? Your calls. Well, you bought them, mate. No one's going to buy. You don't need to. You bought your calls. That's the way calls work, right? You bought calls. The price was going up, and when those options expire, the person you bought them off has to give you those shares. If he doesn't give them to you because you don't intend to exercise that option, you pass it on to somebody else. They'll take it off your hands at a healthy profit, and they'll demand that those shares are exercised. So the people that buy your calls, you know, they've got a real world asset underneath there that's worth that much money. You know, I'll buy them off you if you're selling them to me for less than the strike price. Like, anyone will buy them, and then I'll exercise them, take the shares, and then then you can sell the shares. And if it's happening in a gamma squeeze, we're doing that over and over and pushing it up. And that's exactly what some people are doing. They're taking the shares, they're being exercised, or they're selling them just before they're being exercised. They're taking that money, they're buying them into the more in the money calls, selling them when they've gone up, or they're buying out the money calls when the volatility is low and selling it when the volatility is high. You know, they're selling it when the volatility is high, having been low. Some people are doing that right now with option contracts. So that's what's happening. And so who's going to buy your Brandon C? Oh, that was a different Brandon. That was a Brendan that donated earlier. Oh, I'm so confused. Well, thanks very much, everybody. And the answer to your question is, people like Citadel are going to buy them because they need the shares and they're not able to get them anywhere else, and then that's where they'll get them. Funny, isn't it? I mean, it's just so funny. It's just so funny. Like, who's going to buy your shares? Citadel are going to buy your shares. The DTCC are going to buy your shares. It's so funny. Right, cool. Melvin uses... I can't see because I'm about to start crying with laughter. Melvin uses rehypothecation, illegal accounting whereby an entity uses its client's assets to get margin for said entity. What the fuck? They're not doing that. Melvin are using their own client's entity as leverage. They're using their own client's assets as leverage. So they're taking their client's money and using that for leverage trades. You're right. Rehypothecation. Rehypothecation. Yes, I haven't read that word in a long time. And yeah, it's illegal to do that. Using your client's money for margin, putting their money at risk. You know, to get the qualifications you need to do some of these jobs, to be allowed to trade with other people's money. You do a series of exams. Um, well, you learn shit, right? And that shit you learn is why, if you do what that Stefan's just said there, you're stupid, you're really dangerous, and how if you ever do it, you'll never be allowed to trade on US markets ever again, ever. And plenty of other places in the world either. So if his plan is to reset up under another hedge fund, and it proves to be true that the rehypothecation has happened, then there'll be no danger. He won't be doing that. He won't be doing anything like that. Hey Jamie, reach out to our Autobits and invite him onto your channel. Sitting Bull, invite him on your channel sometime. I know he has super stonk YouTube, but he only does a video now and then. Yeah, he's quality. His DD's fantastic. It would be great to have him on the channel. You guys at all, anyone who's not heard of him or his stuff, Autobit. Yeah, the House of Cards. Oh, he does the. That's why it's called from the hypothecation is from the House of Cards chat. I see what you mean there. Yeah. Okay, right, the House of Cards, yeah, and I can see why that's the whole mechanism there then, isn't it? Yeah, so get Autobits on the channel and get him talking to everyone and he can explain all these things so that we all have a better understanding of it. I will definitely reach out to Autobits and see if he's got time. We'll also have to set up a collab with a couple of other people, hopefully with Ord and Elite soon, because I really think that if all of the different communities were aware of each other, then although we all make our independent financial decisions, it's also true that we like to hear each other's opinions on the stocks. And while we might not align and organize our things together, it is good to know these things. I'm missing loads of chats even though I'm reading all the chats out. I feel like I'm doing a bad job. I'm super sorry, guys. Rocky, do you know the channel Simulate and Trade? Rocky and Jimmy. No, I don't know that channel. I don't really know that many channels. Most of the channels I know on YouTube are people that that do trading stuff are people that have had occasion to come across either in real life or have just been like recommended to me by YouTube for some reason, and like, so I don't really have a wide understanding of everything that's out there, and I know that the trading channels are growing a lot quite fast, so that whole niche, so I have no idea who that one is or who most of them are. I've been trying to pick my father's phone book apart. He was ex-state senator to try to find anything out. Wow, cool. That's a nice heritage you've got there. Maybe after all this, you could run as a state senator. Badman Mamajam 618. Maybe you could run as a state senator. You'd certainly be doing a better job than some of the chaps you've got there at the minute. And I'm sure your dad will have got a lot of connections. You know, when you're going through that phone book and trying to find out information, which is very good of you. Like, the senators aren't going to be the ones that know much of this information, unfortunately. You also keep in mind how you could be one of the people that do that job, right? They're all going to change soon. A lot of people here stateside are about to lose their retirements very soon. Oh, you're talking about the potential crash coming in, or the. Yeah, you're probably talking about the Great Reset that you think's happening there, or perhaps you're making a different point. But I'd happy to hear more on it. Autobit is gold. Yep, they did not crash the price using trading alts. Those are automatic. Oh right, okay, you're answering someone else. Sorry, I'm not going to try and read something I don't understand in the middle of a question. I don't know any channels. I know nothing about what you guys are talking about, this Autobit or whatever and all that. Oh yeah, Rocky doesn't pay all that much attention to Reddit previous to now. Got another nation, Jeepers Creepers. So people that come from that arena, he doesn't necessarily who they are. Whereas Rocky's more the sort of person who would know like who people like Peter Brandt are. Am I turning this off or on another time? Would have a good, would be able to tell you like what Mark Douglas would eat for lunch, but probably wouldn't know who Autobit is, which is the genius and the why Rocky and I make such a good team. Thanks, Jamie. Both of you and Rocky are a breath of fresh air. Cheers, Dave. BNZ, you're from New Zealand. Yo, Dave. Thanks very much. That's very generous of you, Dave. Blackley, Mr. Blackley, I appreciate it very much. That's very kind. That will go to good use. I will be buying GME with it. Oh, cool. I'll take a look then at Julian. Okay, cool. Yeah, GME has negative beta of -5. Yes, so this is a thing that I was also arguing with people. But people are like, oh, what sort of stock has a negative beta? Like, GME is, to a degree, what was recently, up until very recently, was very reflexive in that if the SPY made a move, GME would make a slightly bigger version of it, right? A slightly more exaggerated version of the same move, and it was it was a highly reflexive asset in that sense until recently. And recently it has changed, so it's now presenting us with the opportunities of a negative beta, which means you can hold GME in your portfolio to hedge against the risk of the stock market crashing. That is one of the true narratives that exist at the minute for people managing portfolios, that they can look at GME and they can say it has an inverse correlation to the market, it has a negative beta, it has a really high vega, and at the same time it's got a really low vega, which is going to be able to then sell at a really high vega later down the road, and um, the stock market's crashing at the same time. This inverse relationship means that you're actually de-risking your portfolio by investing in GME, and that's the narrative that we've got at the minute. Yet at the same time, Seeking Alpha are putting out newsletters telling people to go short. I mean, is that why they're doing it? Because they're that dumb that they look at that part of it and they're like, oh, everything else has gone down, so this is going down. Because that's not the way trading works, guys. That's not the way trading works, guys. Right, so anyway, do you Rocky know do a one-on-one people that has any questions? Do we do one-on-one? Well, I mean, we try our best to get back to as many questions as we possibly can. You know, like last night I finished the stream and I must have answered 30, 40, 50 people's questions across different platforms just so that people understood what I was saying with the HPV there. And what time is it at the minute? 11:30 here. Okay. Yeah, so we don't generally do that, and we've got like Patreons, and like I've got levels on there where the top level of my Patreon's like really stupid high price that I only put on there for after the squeeze when we're all stupidly rich and people might want to donate, or if somebody takes some crazy ass YOLO trade that changes their lives, then they could join in at that top level. And so like it was mostly just put out there as like it was like hopes and dreams, like in the future, like this might all happen, and if it does, then wouldn't that be funny, and everyone, and it wouldn't be all that absurd to do that, you know. So but we don't do one-on-one stuff. The truth is, if we were going to do one-on-one stuff and that was our way to make a living, then we would be doing it not on YouTube but like other ways, and probably, I mean, what's an hour of that worth? Like, I charge $1,000 straight up. Like, I charge $1,000 for an hour of me one-on-one talking to somebody about their position size and how to change things. I charge $1,000 for an hour, and you'd make way more than $1,000 off that lessons you'd learn. Like, I mean, I've done lots more than an hour now, and you like. There will be people that's taken this advice and will make thousands of pounds off it, and there have been people who've taken my advice all through this and have made individuals who've made many hundreds of thousands of pounds following what I've said, and that's from 20 minutes conversations, or like 5 minutes, maybe even just text messages, and then like so like this is a thing, like it's like not necessarily a false economy yet. I'm not on here on YouTube doing this to make like £1,000 or £2,000 an hour either, though. You know, I'm not doing that. I'm here really enjoying it. The things that I do say and that contribute to and help loads of people all at the same time. So like my effective contribution to the world of doing this feels like loads and loads, especially when there's so many people that have looked at the stuff that I've done. Whereas when it comes to doing a one-on-one thing, like, although you'll change someone's life, it's only one person, and it takes so much of yours to do it that then to make that worthwhile, you have to charge so much, and it's like then you're putting off so many people, and also it's not like a sales thing I'm interested in doing. But that being said, Rocky Outcrop is a natural born teacher of these things. He's a master of these things, and he has been directly teaching people on YouTube, one-to-one and in group scenarios, and his streams are reasonably intimate and small, and he goes on for hours and hours and hours helping people, and he does offer one-to-one coaching for some people if you're on the top level of his Patreon. So if you want one-to-one coaching on how to be trading like this, and get there as quickly as possible, check out Rocky's Patreon, and trust me, you will not regret it. Hey man, I'm just happy I voted in my local elections. Yo, that's Rocky there talking, saying that. Yo, J-Town, how's it going? 120. Yo, 120. J-Town, how's it going, man? Hope you will do a course someday. Yeah, Rocky's writing a course at the minute, and if you're in his Discord, you're basically getting a course, and I'm missing things. I'm going to go up and read them for 2 seconds. Jamie, you might want depending on your situation, do what Uncle Bruce does for the Brits, what he does for USA. He offers one-on-one general financial personal consultations for $400 an hour. That's probably like something that I would consider doing. I'd give you a one-on-one on that financial consultation for an hour. Maybe I wouldn't though, because when I'm not doing YouTube, I'm working on developing a cryptocurrency called Picnic Network, which is going to change the face of finance. It's going to offer treasury as a service for huge companies, and £400 an hour if I'm putting in actual work, isn't that enough to me? Not offence, right? 400. It's a good message setting, Bull, and you're right, what you're saying. It's sensible, and I should have all the different income streams on the go and offer things that'll help people in at a fair price. But the person you want to be targeting that at is Rocky. He's better at it than me. And if anybody wants it, go to Rocky, go to patreon.com/Rocky Outcrop, and select the top thing. You'll get a one-to-one video call with him to assess what part of the curriculum you're at, and then he gives you tailored advice. And it doesn't just happen, and he does it every month all the time. So it's maybe even a better deal than that. But yeah, and it's probably cheaper than that. But yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. So people should be doing these things, and that's very good advice. Sit and Bill, thank you very much. It's so great to have this back and forth. This is what I was saying before when I started this and got a number of viewers all at once. And I hope people don't think this is the wrong way to be doing things, or I'm boring or something. And it's fair enough if you think that. I understand, and try to be interacting with people, because I hate this parasocial concept of and that's why the message earlier that I maybe misinterpreted a little bit from Codaman, I think that's how you pronounce his name, got to me a little bit, because we do this for the audience. I do this for the audience. That's why I do this. And I hate missing the messages, and I hate the whole parasocial idea that you see some streamers they'll just be on there. They'll only read out super chats, and only read out ones that are over a certain amount, and they'll say oh, I'm not doing that for you unless you give me 20 quid or something like that. Even saying that makes me want to be sick of myself, because the people that you're asking for your help and all the benefits you can do for everybody else by answering that question, and you're on YouTube anyway doing this stuff, mate. Why don't you want to help that person out? You're just going to sit there in silence after them having donated to you. That's why, I really didn't want to miss anybody's messages, and I'm super sorry I ever did that. And if I ever do that ever, I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise. Hope you will do to get cool. Yeah, ooh, Rocky. Rockets for Rocky. Yeah, Rockets for Rocky. Rockets in the chat. So I'm going to probably haven't done much, have I here? Why have I opened that? What did I just open there? Epic Games. I just accidentally opened Epic Games because a notification came up on my computer, and I can't tell you how much I'd love to be able to sit down and play a computer game for a period of time. But that is just not on my agenda anymore. Hasn't been for a long time. It's just feels like such a waste when the best game in the world is trading. It's the best game that any of us can, and go away, Brave. This is the game for me. Also, it changes so much, and it's got so many real world implications, and once you've done it for a period of time, you're either going to have made money, learned something, or both. And so it's a much better way to spend my time. I can't do anything else. The biggest breaks I can have during the day when I'm not doing something productive is when I'm on the toilet, which is where I use Tinder, by the way. So if you ever get speaking to me on there, you'll know that I'm taking a pooch. How much resistance can there be with no shares? I've read that out ages. Jamie, you read that out ages and ages ago. Is there a donation? July 16th, $700 call for GME, $293. Cost you $293 at the minute, and you have 10. That's my one only big option contract. What's your thoughts? Okay, what's my thoughts? That's it. They're quite interesting trades. Well, when's they're July 16th. The July 16th option contracts cost $2.93. And the minute the volatility is so low, where did you get? When did you buy them? Would you mind me asking there, Badman Banana Jums 618? If you got them in at around, if you got them when the prices were in around 137, with the chat that we looked at recently about the HPV, then my friend, that was a very good trade. Let's see how it goes, right? I'm cheering you on. I'm not going to give you an opinion either way with regards to how likely it is to happen, other than to say that I think the squeeze will happen before the end of July. And we'll see how it goes. We have to see what other option contracts come onto the books before then, because it's quite a ways away. And so as we see the option chain develop over the next couple of months, let's keep an eye out for James 618's trade there, which I think is quite interesting. I think that's quite a ballsy trade. It's not a huge trade, right? I don't know your personal circumstances. 10 contracts. That may end up being quite a large one. Yeah, I mean, that might be quite large. That would be, I suppose, fair enough. Yeah, anyway, you're talking big money if it all comes off, so congratulations if that works out. I think it looks good. I'm talking big money is relative, isn't it? So, yeah, I think that looks... My thoughts are that's quite an exciting, fun trade to have. Yeah, and it's not too expensive to take it. And, of course, you'll be able to exercise them any time between... Or, sorry, not exercise them, but you'll be able to sell that options contract between now and then. So, perhaps with the volatility and everything else, you will find yourself in the money before then. Certainly you might find yourself in a good position. So I think that's very interesting. I like to see that trade. Please to come back and remind me of it and how things are going before the 16th of July. And it's great that you found me. Great to speaking to you, mate. Stefan says thumbprint or Face ID. You're talking about something there, I think. 1 million. In about 1 month, the vote coin is created. On election day, send your coin to who you want to win. Candidate with the most coins win. This is a new crypto elections where you can also get rich off of the votes. Usually people have to pay for votes rather than the votes being payments, eh? There's a bit of irony. I think that they could use digital ledgers and voted VeChain's a really good option for that. You know much about VeChain. I did a video on VeChain a number of months ago. Anyway, I don't do videos on certain things all that often, but I think it's a really good deal and I will. And anyone who got in VeChain around back then, you are a very rich person now. Congratulations. Why am I talking about VeChain? Also, that video I made was so good about VeChain that VeChain should have reached out to me and given me some sort of thanks for it. It was really good. And I don't give a flying fuck if not enough people saw it. I know they saw it. And somebody from there should have said, yo, Jamie, this is a good video, thanks very much. Like, I know my worth when it comes to certain things. I'll do anything for you guys, and I do it all for free. When it comes to other companies who are making money hand over fist, who I do work for, even not work for, if I do things that benefit, I kind of think to myself afterwards, like, that was worth a lot, And I don't know if it was appreciated. It certainly wasn't appreciated enough as it should have been. I got another donation. Did I read it out? Where is it? Jeepers Creepers. I'm missing stuff. I'm sorry if I'm pissing people off. Thanks for the hard work, honestly. Still anticipate 120 electric point R. We think higher now. J-Town, I think higher. My order's from 120. I'm going to be moving up to 100 and what did I say? I can't remember now. Let me just double check. That's not what I wanted to double check. This is... I was still thinking that there might be a retrace on this move. I drew some fibs on and we came in, what was it? We decided in around, just off without looking at the fibs, or I'd put the order in at the minute for that, but then I actually got a generous donation off your boy there, Aaron, so I'm going to put his order in at 161, which I'd expect to get tomorrow. And then, I'll draw the fib on and I'll tell you where I'll put the rest of it. My 120 orders are now 153, give or take. Like, actually, let's just call it 155. Is for where my previous orders at 120 would have been. And why is that? Like, there's still a good area to manage your risk there. If you didn't want that trade, like, I don't do this with my trade. I just buy in the thing, But if you were looking for a good, sensible place to enter, that is one. because you got the 0.5. It's normal on a retracement of a move that you see to the 0.5. Look at Dow theory if you want to know more about these sort of things. Like, I don't necessarily teach you the in-depth aspects of it or how to use it in every scenario, which is why that coaching idea from Rocky is a very good idea. But I will do my best of explaining it. Now, that's very common that you'll get a retrace for the 50%. That also happens to be the 0.5 on a fib. And then we've broken resistance. We've touched resistance. You could come back down, test there, and then have another go at it. So, like, I mean, generally speaking, I expect prices to do something like that. But it may be that prices only do something like that, which would be more bullish, right? That only a 236 retracement. It could be, though, these are the three scenarios that I am trying to anticipate. Anyway, right, these are the three. And then the other one that I think might happen, and I wouldn't think it was a bad entry if we got down here, was around 148. You got another one. We bounced off the 168 or the golden pocket, and those are the three things that I envisage happening. Having seen the price action like this, then that's what. And like, I don't mean it to be like a cup and handle, with a 50% retrace and that. I don't mean it to be, but if I was doing that, then you would have a measured move off the back of it, right? And this is how this works. The measured move, you do it from the breakout point, would take us up to 199, 200. There's your 200 target, and that's why Warden Elite's target that when he said 198, 220. This is actually a different measured move on a different pattern and a different time that made me think that his TA was really good for completely different reasons. I thought it was good TA, and I noticed that he made that target, and I do think he makes quite a lot of them actually. Anyway, point being, here's another reason why we might get up there. Like another reason why the charts say that that's a potential destination. Bing bong. So you're looking at 200, and your entries are around 156. And if you want to slap that around in options contracts, you could probably make quite a lot of money. J-Town, thanks for the hard work. Oh, you honestly still there? That's that question. So I read that, and that was a good answer. And that's reasonably, guys. That's probably, guys and girls, as much I love all of you and would love to stay on. I've actually only had about 5 hours sleep in the last day and a half. So... and so many disasters happened to me recently, and I don't mean disasters like the bad things. They're not, and I'm not saying bad. They're actually bad. They're quite comedic. Like the Rocky will tell you, we've got a pipe here that the water comes in, and like to turn the water off to this apartment, it's not, the stop tap isn't actually in this apartment. It's like somewhere else in a different part of the building that getting to is like at the minute not very easy. And the pipe itself has started to leak, and it's like leaking like too fast. And I've got a commercial establishment that lives underneath me. So like there's like lots of work to maintain that situation until I can properly get it fixed. Now I could just phone a plumber and get a plumber to fix it. But having done this stuff myself so many times, I just want to do it myself. I just want things to work myself. So hurry up, Amazon, and deliver my shit. So that's happening. And then also there's a window up the road that the wind was so bad a couple of weeks ago, it's blown the bottom off it. I have to fix that. And I should really be paying people to do these things. But you know what it's like. Once you've learned to do something yourself, you resent somebody else doing it, especially if you don't have like a traditional 9 to 5. And when every dollar you've earned, you earn to live off in your life. Like these donations that are coming in are so very generous, but I'm going to be putting them towards GME. And I've got to read messages that are coming up here, and I shouldn't be talking shit about my own life. And who does anyone even care anyway, right? Yeah, so I have to fix the window. Whoopty-doopty. I also need to get some sleep. Damn, gotta go to sleep or I'll be destroyed. Vic, he's one of my Patreon members. I forgot to say this. I was nearly saying this at some point, but I got distracted by my fact that I've got this cheese brain. Yeah. Thanks so much to people who sponsor me on Patreon. Thanks so much to everyone who's donated. People on Patreon especially, like putting that pledge and commitment in there. That's really special. And it gives me the ability to rely on it's not saying it's staggering amounts of life-changing wealth. It's a lot of money for each person who's done it, though. It's really generous, and it allows me a little bit of ability to think, like, not my entire life doesn't run on risk anymore. Thanks. It makes a big difference, even if it's not a huge, significant proportion of what my expenses are, which is actually is. It also means that for the first time in many, many years, my life isn't entirely run by me managing risk, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. So what's the chat been saying before I head off? I've read that. That was from J-Town. Thanks very much, mate. I've got so many people in here that I really, really, really like. There's some. I just went past somebody I just saw, other than Vic, also Queen Vic, Scott Mackay, Sitting Bull, all these people the last few days. Dead Money All-Stars, legend, like total legend there. So many of these people. I mean, I'm just reading names, not even messages and that. Like, so many good people here. Julian, okay, Rick Vince. And there's another name, somebody that I can't pronounce properly. Asazumaza, but as a Patreon member. So shout out to you. You'll know who you are, and I'll definitely work on getting your name better next time. Apple Blossom, Doll, yeah, and the people that have donated, and the chap that I fell out with, who I'm now good friends with, Codomain, who, let's be honest, right? He wanted to know the answer. That was why his question was phrased the way it was, because he really wanted to know the answer, and I feel terrible the way I responded. Now that was really bad. Sorry about that. Yes, hard to get other people to do the job as well as you would do it yourself. Yeah, it's hard to get other people to do the job, and then you're paying like top dollar for somebody just to do the job as good as you would have, and it's like, but I wouldn't have charged somebody to do that myself, and like, trust me, I wouldn't have charged somebody to do that myself. So I feel like Bean Rocky Outcrop has a Godel answer to your question in recent video. Yeah, like there's a lot of different. This is a if you've got any questions about AMC at all, Rocky will tell you the answer. Look, all these people in chat, thanks so much to everybody in chat. You're all brilliant. You've all been so generous this evening. Bloody hell, I don't know how I'm going to... Like, if you ever want anything from me, all you need to do is ask. And I'm all your friends. And if you ever want to do anything for me that doesn't involve money, or you've got extra time on your hands that will also benefit you, subscribe to Rocky Outcrop on YouTube. It will be the best decision you make in your trading career. It will be, right? There's another prediction from me that will come true. And say thanks to Ape Andy. If you ever see Ape Andy, he's soothing, calming, relaxing, the sort of guy who'll help you stay calm and strong in your position. So if you are, like many people who've put messages in chat or talk on Discord or the subreddits about how sometimes they get worried, sometimes they find it to be difficult, and they're going to hold anyway, but they would rather deal without the anxiety. Ape Andy is your friend. Now, I'm not saying that just off the cuff. He is your friend. He will be. Go and check him out. Ape Andy is Andy Lee. Andy Lee, Andyle. Check him out, Ape Andy, really nice guy. Who else is good there? Andrew Mo Money's written in chat, so you may check him out. There's Cosmic Lightning Warrior, who's got like a different take on things. If you like computer games and you like his enthusiasm too, he's like on Twitch, I think, but he also has videos on YouTube, and he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy, actually. And he's slightly younger than me, and he's got a slightly different community, but they're all good. And then there's Trades, really enthusiastic, and there's loads of other people that I should be thanking. Lou versus Wall Street's like a real movie star. Like these people, Andy Lee, Lou, Rocky, Orden Elite's got a lot of good information too. All these people, I wish we could all get together. Like, honestly, I think that there's like a really good group of people there, and then this community of people, everybody is amazing. Come on, guys, donate to the channel. There's been loads of donations. Everybody's been brilliant. Thank you so much. Nobody has to feel obligated to do anything at all ever. I'm Crafty, Rocky Outcrop. You're welcome. Yes, that's Rocky all over. We need to have a meet up after the Moas. Yes, there definitely will be. If we can't organise one at one of our, there's a lot of very, how do I put this? There's high net worth individuals among us who may want to host parties, many of which have said if it happens they're going to be having one. And they've invited me, and if they do, all of you guys are invited. I'll insist upon it. I still insist upon it that it's a Jamie Curran plus, what are we going to have by then? We might, we've got over 6,000 subscribers already, so if anyone's inviting me to a party, a big one of these big parties, you're going to have to accommodate at least 6,000 other people, right? And they might not all turn up, but if I can help it, they will. And you're going to have the space. So think about that if you're inviting me, because I can't leave these guys behind. And if that's not possible, then I'll host something. I will host something. and I live in Edinburgh. If you haven't been here, it's a brilliant place to visit. And if you haven't, um, then you'll really enjoy it. It's really, really lovely city. You just don't want to walk up and down the hills all the time, but everything's really quite neat and tidy and all here. And then we can go and visit other places and shit. And fuck it, we won't have much work to do after then, so we'll have a great time. Ape Andy was what brought you here. Thank you, Sitting Bull. Great to have your contribution. You're a really good chat. Everybody is, though. I don't actually know. You know, you could have all been like stabbing each other when I wasn't looking at. And then I turn up and you're all like, hi. And that thinks looks good, but I don't know because I've missed so much little bits. Hey, right, so I'm probably going to step off now. Stefan, I can't not say nice things. Stefan, he's an absolute legend. Oh, yeah, I need to get in touch with Stefan. Stefan's going to give me some advice for how I get from. I would like to have a shop where people could buy really cheap but also quality versions of like Ken Griffin Go Fuck Yourself, etc. T-shirts, jumpers and whatnot, or other things I say when I'm in a rant, and people could just get them, or shoelaces and so on, or all the other fun ideas. But I don't know how to go from setting up a Shopify and speaking to like a fulfilling thing and like what do I do next. I don't know. I'm just a day trader. All I do is buy and sell volatility and risk. My meetup is planned for Bali, by the way. Oh, Rocky Outcrop, Bali. Yes, that's Rocky Outcrop's got a meetup too, because in his Discord, they've all been taking pretty good trades on a number of different things, plus this AMC thing he's in now. Guy got over there who is a taco hunt on the beach. Yeah, that's right. Rocky's got a couple of good friends in Bali. A couple of nice things going on there. Oh, geez, we need to stick together, guys, because when these things go... when these things take off, we're all going to have such a nice time. Anyway, right, so I've noticed the viewers have dropped off the chunk. That must mean people have decided they need to go to sleep. I agree with them. Thanks so much to everybody who tuned in. Thanks for donating. Thanks for everything you've done. What movie outro did we put on the last time? That was The Truman Show. What's another good ending to a show? Soon to be Bling Blong. Ha! Bling Blong. Fuck yes. Bling Blong. This is shit. This is the shit, you know, when you get a community together and you just make a joke and it's dead funny, and then like a couple of weeks later it's slightly changed that tiny wee bit so that we're all laughing that like a little bit extra. But new people that hear it have got no idea what we're talking about. Like we'll be like bling blonging it all over Bali. Bling blong Bali times, and people will be like, who are these crazy dudes? Rocky Outcrop, what's your Discord? Yeah, what, Rocky, share your Discord. Maybe you just did there. If you didn't, Rocky, share your Discord for show. Golden bling blong. Golden bong bling blong. Choose life. Yeah, we could put on choose life. Shall we put on da choose life? We'll put on the choose life. Well, we've got the end of trade spotting features in the end of every one of my static videos where Spud opens up the locker and sees that Renton has left his share of the money along with a passport, so you can come and visit him if he wants. You know, he doesn't have to go out and spend that on smack. He could decide to change. He opens up there's an Andy Lee video from 3 hours ago that I haven't watched yet. Going to watch that straight after this stream. Definitely recommend everybody checks that out. I also think Rocky may have scheduled his stream for tomorrow, so if you're at an AMC, check that out. And we'll look up... We'll look up... What, Jimmy, you can't keep changing your mind just because you can't change your mind every time you see one on the screen there. Everybody's going to have tuned out, but Jamie, come on, Jamie, pick one. Stop it, Jamie, pick one. Okay, I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. I believe I know the answer. So, yes, this is it. Here we go.